Yeah, I love, talking with you, David, pilot to pilot, because you make it all so real when we get in there. Oh, we're live. Hello,
Well, no, you're
everybody.
on. If you want to introduce
Welcome.
David.
Yeah, of course. Well, welcome, everyone. Another webinar here. Emery Smith here with David Adair. God bless David Adair. I'll tell you, he's giving me a heart
Hi.
attack for the last 6 months. And one of the most compliant patients I've ever had, that's for sure. When you tell him to do something for his health, he does it by the book, and we thank him for being a compliant patient. And he's also one of my best friends in the world, and I
Thank
love
you.
him to death. And I really respect him because, we share some aerospace engineering together, and we also work on some really amazing projects. And he's one of the few people I can be around for more than 24 hours and still have a great time and no ego and get along. So, David, welcome to the show again. You did give us a little scare. We are gonna touch base on that. A lot of people were really concerned, of course. I had made a posting on the first event, the first heart attack. Let's just start by heart attacks. Um, I mean, since
Okay.
you're racking them up, I don't know if you're trying to compete with how many people you shot down. You know, I think you have a tattoo, right?
Yeah, I'm looking
Hey,
for it.
I'll be
Darla. Here's
here
Darla.
if
She's
anyone
moderating.
needs help logging in, just so they all know, okay? If
Yeah,
anyone needs
she's
help
here. If you guys
registering,
need help
logging in,
logging in,
whatever, just let me know, okay?
yeah, we'll be checking the emails as well, Darla. Leave that up so you can see.
Okay.
Hello, Valerie. Hello, Andrew. Yeah, so um, it was a little bit ago here, that I get a call from David, and he's on the way to the hospital, and David was here. I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. You spent about a month here, and we were doing some treatments on you for some other things, and you did really well, and and then I think what happened was you got out of the hospital. I'll let you explain it. So let's talk about the first heart attack, just to get it out the way, because people want to know,
Okay.
David,
Well,
what the
what
hell
happened?
happened to you in the past month here, besides giving me and Darla a heart attack and everyone else? Um, and
Well,
then
I'll tell you,
I do have to bring up
it all.
some personal stuff because this leads into extraterrestrial business, by the way. All right, and then we also got to talk about the pipe. But first, what happened the first time, the first heart attack, the other day?
What happened was, it all started on a dark and rainy night. No, no, I flew to New York to do a music video
Yes,
that
forgot to
this
post it.
lady
Yeah.
sent me an email.
Mhm.
Yeah, Leanne Curtis,
Right,
and
right.
Leanne is experienced in making videos and music, and she was pretty much an accomplished actress back in the 80s. I just watched her in a lead role, Girlfriend from Hell, which was funny. It was a really kind of funny movie. It was
Yeah,
great.
Leanne
But
is a hoot. Yeah,
I went up
Leanne's
there.
pretty funny.
Well, she sent me this invite email, and God knows I get hundreds of emails a day. So that one just caught my attention for some reason. And she said she shot a music video and wanted to know if I wanted to come up and be in it. I thought, well, damn, I don't get that offer very much. So I wrote
Yeah.
back to her and said, yeah, I'll come up there. So I went up there to see her and stayed about a week. And we got the filming part done. And then I was on my way home, minding my own business. And there was a woman behind me in the center seat, and she was just
Hmm.
coughing and spewing everywhere.
Oh my
And she
goodness.
had was not wearing a mask. And finally, I turned around to her, real
Hmm.
rude like, and I said, "For God's sake, put a mask on." And she didn't have one, so I told
So
the
she
stewardess
she
to get her one.
inoculated you with
Well,
her,
anyway, 2 days.
her stuff. Yeah.
Oh, did she ever? I mean, I was
Oh
wet
man.
on my
Oh my
right arm,
gosh.
and so 48 hours later, I get home and I am so sick. And so I go to 24-hour care and have a neighbor drive me over there because I'm too sick to drive. So
Hmm.
they looked at me and they said, "You got to go to the hospital." They didn't even look at me. So I went over
Right.
to the hospital and take that Q-tip and stick it up in your brain just about. And they came back and they told me,
You got
you
COVID.
are covered up inside. You got COVID-19. I went, wait a minute. I've had a COVID shot. I've had A and B and the booster, and
You
that
had like 5 of them.
shit went
Yeah.
right through me like, yeah, I had the shot card, still got the shot card with me.
Yeah.
And it went right through all those vaccines like it wasn't even there. So guess what, y'all? Vaccines don't work.
They
I
don't
don't know what
work,
the hell
and
they're doing
we're
with them.
strongly against vaccines, but I know why you had to do it when you went overseas a few years ago. Well,
Yeah,
that I think
you
that had
know.
a lot to do with it too. You having the
Well,
heart attack.
what happened? The COVID-19 went straight after my lungs and my heart, and they kept me in intensive care for 3 days and thought I was okay, and they sent me back home. And that night, I was not getting better. Matter of fact, I couldn't breathe, and I'd sit up and count to 15, and I'm
Yeah, it was
able to
hard
get
to
my
even talk
breath
to you on
back.
the
But
phone. You could barely have a
next,
conversation. Yeah.
oh, I walked past the mirror and looked at it, and I went, God Almighty! I was bone white, and my eyes were so black I couldn't even see my eyeballs. I looked like a Walking Dead character,
You were
and
you were transforming,
so I
kid.
found a phone. I was well.
You're
I found out. I
transforming.
just said
We'll
three
get we'll
things in
get
the
into
phone.
that in a second.
I said, "Yeah, send an ambulance," and they did.
Oh
And
my gosh, that's
when
scary.
they got to my blood pressure, they were looking at my blood pressure. I was 50/30, so
Well,
I was dying. And
yeah, I would say so.
that guy's looking at me, and he said, "I don't even know if you're going to make it to the hospital." And I went, "Oh God." This guy was very honest EMT, and
Yeah.
anyway, he's trying to get blood into my cavity and my chest cavity. He said, "I can't." He said, "Both your arms and both your legs are blocked off." He said, "I don't know what's going on with you." So he said, "You got 22 seconds and you're going to die." I went, "Okay." What else can you do? So I'm laying there and I thought, well, I wonder what he's going to do. And he said, "I'm going to do something really primitive here, but you're like the break glass in case of emergency situation." As soon
Yeah.
as the wheels stop turning in the driveway of the cardiovascular hospital,
Mm.
he pulls out this big hand drill. It's got a gold bit on it. He said, "I'm going to drill through your left shoulder down into your bone and into the bone marrow, and then I'm going to flood your chest cavity."
Yeah.
I was about to ask, well, what's that going to feel like? He stands up. He's got this big syringe of fentanyl. He says, "I'm going to give this whole thing to you. You're going to need it." Boom, he hits me with the fentanyl. I start to say something, and he just pressed down on that hand drill and pulled the trigger. And
Yeah.
honest to God, I was a 12-year-old girl, man.
That,
I mean,
we have
I've
we
been
have to
shot
do
4
that.
times, and none of those bullets.
Yeah, we have to do that to
Yeah,
get the
it just
volume up.
hurts so
We
bad.
have to have direct access to the bone marrow so we can flood you with
Yeah,
all the IVs because
he did, and
yeah.
he's watching the monitors, and he said he's looking at his watch, and then he finally said, "Okay, you got a tsunami going through your chest." And I could feel it. Felt like a squirrel running through there. And he said, "I flooded your cavity. You got 8 seconds left. You're going to make it." And I went, "God Almighty!" So they wheel me into the OR, and that's when I first meet my first doctor. Dr. McDonald's looking at me. He's
Ronald
looking at his
McDonald.
staff there, and all he says is, "Yeah," he says, "Go." And man, these people just swarmed on me. And that's the last thing I remember. But it
Well,
turns out I
point out that
died
they
on that table.
point out the fact, David, just to that you were his last patient before he retired.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the last patient he's had before he's going to retire. Had a marvelous career. And he was working on me. He said, "You just up and died." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Monitors went flat. Everything. No brain activity, no heart activity." And he said, "Well, I hate just to call him." So he zapped me again. And I came back. So they sent me up to a intensive care room. And then at 3:38 that morning, I hemorrhaged.
Yeah.
The nurse came in just to check things, and as soon as she stepped in the door, she saw the first drips of blood, and I turned into a fountain. I mean, I spewed onto the ceiling, the walls, everywhere, because they had put 6 stents in my heart, and everything was leaving.
Yeah, you're on those blood
And so they
thinners, your
put
blood's
3
thin,
pints of
and
blood in.
yeah, it's going all over. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just, I mean, maintenance people were there mopping up the place. And all I remember, I don't remember any of it. I was out, but I remember all these hands on me everywhere. And apparently they call a code, and all these people come running, and
Well, that's only
so they got the
like
hemorrhaging
that's you got to
stopped,
tell the
and
audience, David. That's like one code. I think for the record that I'm aware of, you've already passed away 3 times in 3 weeks, but each time was
yeah. So this is
multiple times during multiple codes during one code.
yeah.
I'll say
So I died again that
that week.
in that hemorrhage. I died, and
Wow. Yeah, second
so
time.
they he brought in the paddles, and he told them crank it up to the top, and they banged me, and I bodyguard comes up off the bed and lands back on the bed, and bang, I was back again. And they couldn't understand what was going on. So um, that morning, the next morning, I wake up and it's my doctors, and they're sitting there by the side of the bed. And I thought that's kind of unusual because doctors don't, they don't sit around. I asked, why you guys hanging out here? And he goes, well, quite frankly, you're a show to watch because we haven't seen anybody do this stuff. He said, you've been dead twice now for sure. He said, we got it on record. And he said, you're back. We don't understand that. And I said, well, I don't know what's going on either. I'm just here. So they kept me for about a week, and they let me go. And then I was home for about 3 weeks, and I came back for a follow up. And then they got excited again. They got cranked up. I said, what's wrong? And they said, it's your readings. I said, what's wrong with them? He said, that's just it. Your oxygen is 99. I'm like, well, you're kidding.
How's
He
it feel
said,
to
your
have
BP is
oxygen
120
again?
over 70. Oh, it was really nice sitting in
I
that
mean,
chair. I could just breathe.
once you get
My pulse was
once you get
72.
those arteries open, it's usually most people have this epiphany that, wow, I didn't know having oxygen and energy that I've been without for years and years and years. So how was that first feeling like, oh, I can
Yeah, I
finally
felt.
breathe?
I was laying. Yeah, I was laying there in bed, and I could feel the last pint of blood that went through. And I told him, I said, well, that's when Doctor McDonald said, well, bud, you had 90% blockage for 2 years. How did you even get around? Did you faint? Did you? I said, sometimes the room would spin. I thought it was diabetes. I would just sit back and enjoy the spin until it stopped spinning. Then I'd get up and go about my business. And he says, God help, because you were dying then, buddy. Now I went,
They,
yeah, well, I guess I just ain't got enough sense.
well, I
So
think what saved you, David,
they're looking at,
is when you came to visit here, we were treating you, and I said, where do you want to go to eat? You can eat anywhere you want, and you and I went to White Castle Burger.
I remember
And
that.
I think that cleaned your arteries
Yeah.
out. I think that actually prolonged your life.
Well,
It's an inside joke, everyone.
they
Inside
couldn't
joke
believe
between
that.
David and I.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know,
because
you
there's
also
no White Castle anywhere where I live.
didn't you because I remember I scheduled you to do a webinar that week, and I talked to you on the phone. You sounded great. You were up and around. We had a great conversation, and then 5 hours later, you're like, Emery, I'm back in the ambulance. I'm heading back to the hospital. I said, what? And I said, is it the food? Is it the
Yeah.
food, David?
Yeah. That's why both my doctors, they got a solemn face on them. They looked at each other and they said to me, we know why you're here. Well, why am I here? You're after the hospital food. I went, no, I'm not.
3 meals a day.
Man, I tell you what,
And you know the chef.
I lost 52 pounds.
Yeah.
everything, all the clothing now is just like
Yeah.
wearing blankets, and I'm going after another 52 pounds, so I'll get back my girlish figure
There
here.
you go.
And but the readings at the end or at the checkup was 120 over 70, pulse 72,
Right.
and he said, here's what's really disturbing. And so he shows me the
Yeah.
EKGs
This
hooked
is
up
what
to
we
me,
got to
the
talk about
little
this.
strip.
Yeah.
I go, I can't read that thing. I'm not a doctor. And he said, see, the bottom lines are all straight. I said, yeah. Well, there should be wiggle lines in there. You mean I'm not dead? He goes, no. He says, I can't explain this. He goes, I put 3 tunnels from your wishbone up to your chest. And he said, there was 3 tunnel highways that all the 6 stents went in. He said, look at this EKG. See all the straight lines? Yeah. There's 0 arterial damage. There's no damage. Like we've never been there. I went, well, how do you explain that? He goes, I don't know. So he said, we're writing a white paper on you because we've got to share this with colleagues. But
Well, can I
well,
bring
how do you
something up?
explain this? He goes, we can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please.
I want to. Yeah. It's amazing. Every time you go into the medical facility, they want to do a white paper on you. Remember, they want to do your brain, your head, your skull that one time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this stuff you guys will not believe this
I'm
shit.
a medical
This shit you will
anomaly.
not believe. Every time David goes, he's an anomaly. When David came to stay a month with me in Darla, and we were doing some treatments on him, we were doing this big scan. It's a nonlinear system, biofeedback system. And if you guys are interested in that, check out emerysmith.co. But we were doing this scan, and it takes 12 hours. He's laying there, we're getting him stuff, and he's nodding off and on. And Darla comes and grabs me and says, Emery, look at this. Look at the organs here, and look at all the.
Yeah. No,
And
I
I
noticed
and I
that.
said, oh, that's just Pithlem, Dara. I said, that's Pithlem. She's like, what? She's like, oh my gosh. I said, you had organs you're not supposed to have as a man, and you had all
I
this
know.
intricate, double layered stuff going on in your scan. I said, there's got to be a DNA a DNA crossover. Something happened with the system. There's Darla. And go ahead, Darla, you can say it. There she goes. Oh, yeah, yeah. She's pointing to you, David.
Important to
This guy
David.
Yeah,
here.
I remember laying
He's
on
not.
I
He's
remember
not
laying on
fully
the
human.
couch,
Just so you know.
and it was her face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not
she
fully
went.
human.
She was looking at the screen, and I was watching her face, and she went blank. And I thought, what the hell is she seeing? But yeah,
Said,
Pithlem
we
is
only
real.
get that
there's
from
another
hybrids.
entity living there.
We only get that from hybrids and extraterrestrials. And then I said, just keep going with the skin. I'm sure he's aware of this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she
So
makes
there's
her
this
time.
other entity. There's this other entity. If you guys watch my show on Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia TV, when I interviewed David, he talks about how he, has this other extraterrestrial came into him at Area 51 when he was doing some amazing work on the propulsion system on a craft. But you guys can look that up. But the reason I brought that up too is because, having followed David closely through his transition here this month, the doctors picked up on David 2 different pulses. Two
Yeah,
different pulses.
they said they thought it was an echo or a heart murmur, and then they separated it, and they said, no, it's 2 separate heartbeats. They got different pulses. They said, what the hell? How's that possible? And I wasn't about to tell them. Well, when I was 17, I ended up in Area 51, and there's an alien inside this big power plant, and it decided it got me there and told me I'm a new lifeboat, and she jumped in, and we left. And
I told David, tell the
he's been
doctor,
there
give me
ever
a
since.
call. I'll debrief him.
Really,
Yeah.
about need that.
When David goes in, he has to have a couple handlers to explain to the doctors what's really going on in his body.
What's happening, really? Well, Pithlam's been there 53 years inside me.
Yeah.
And it's been an interesting life to say the least.
Yeah, I can vouch for
She'll
these
speak
things.
up now
This
and
is
then.
very real, very real, and it's
Yeah,
a
I
great.
just learned to live with it and take it as
Well,
everyday
I
things.
think Piffin had a great
Um,
deal in helping you survive this orchestrated event of whatever
I think she
happened.
did too.
I mean,
Yeah, she repaired everything so well that the EKG said after surgery, the EKG said there was no tissue damage anywhere.
right. Hmm.
And the doctor's going, that cannot be. He said, I had my hands and probes all the way up to my elbows inside you. And he said, there's got to be, it's got to be a disturbance. And he said, look at this EKG. And I said, I can't read that. He said, it's flawless. It's like we never been there. And then when the recovery process kicked in,
Hmm.
and the nurses and the therapy people said I graduated last week. I didn't need them anymore. And I thought, is this normal? And you were dead 3 weeks ago, clinically dead, and now look at your readings. It's like you never had any injury at all. He
Yeah,
said, this is nuts.
yeah,
The only thing I noticed for sure is I was 52 pounds lighter, and
yeah. Well, that's a blessing. So
that was
that's
a
good.
good thing.
That's
And
a good
I'm
thing.
still,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I'm losing
fantastic.
about a pound. I'm losing about a pound a day.
Well, that's great.
So
That's
it's
great news, David.
and my eating habits just I've changed. I'm a vegetarian type eating now, and
Wow. Well,
no fried foods, none of that stuff.
next time you visit, we're going to
That's
have to accommodate you with that.
yeah, no more White
I've been
Castles.
Yeah, no more White Castles. That was just one time. We haven't eaten in there in 30 years, so that's okay. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
no,
mean,
it was kind of cool though.
it was cool to be there downtown there with all the freakazoids. I've been losing weight
Yeah, boy,
too.
there is a bunch of them down there.
That was a hilarious event.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I mean, I actually pulled up, in the black SUV, and it was like a military operation. You jumped out. I had to go find a spot.
Right.
There was a bunch of
I'm
hoodlums in
surprised you
there.
even found the spot as close.
There was hoodlums in there. Some
Yeah,
of
and
them
you
didn't have
found.
their shirts on. You know, things are
Oh man,
popping out all over the
the
place.
animals.
And
It
it was
was.
very animalistic situation. No, that was funny. But David, I also lost a lot of weight this past 3 months. So I lost 45 pounds.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
So I'm on my way like
Yeah, it's
you. You and I have
noticeable.
a mission. We have to lose weight because we're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff next year, and we got to be ready for that.
I
One
I
of the
had
things
a
I
neighbor
wanted
look at me.
to what are you there? I can't hear you.
Yeah, yeah. I
No,
just
go ahead
had a
back on.
neighbor tell me. He said, "You're not going to die here." I said, "No, where am I going?" He goes, "I don't know. Something's going to land here and take you out of here because you're just not. There's nothing normal about you." He said, "Not even everyday things. It's not normal."
Wow.
And he said, "Have you ever noticed that?" I said, "Not really. You're on the inside looking out, so you don't really notice all the stuff going on."
Well, things are
But
going
yeah,
well
the
planned. Things are
last
going well
event,
planned. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a
I
matter
had
of time.
another neighbor tell me, he said, yeah, he said, you're going to space. I went, what? Yeah, I don't know how, but you're not going to die here. You're going to be in space. You'll be one of the oldest people ever went to space. And I said, well, that sounds like fun. So, but we are losing weight. And
Yeah, we got to be able to fit.
at the rate I'm
We
going
got
by
to.
spring, I'll be, by spring, I will have lost, at the rate I'm going, I will have lost 150 pounds and I'll be
Fantastic.
a small person, like I was in the Navy,
Yeah,
be about 160, 170 pounds.
yeah, exactly.
But I got to get some new clothes.
Well, there's nothing
I
wrong with
can't
that.
believe how baggy
At least we'll
everything
be able
is.
to fit in our flight suits
Yeah, I
again.
got to get.
I got the flight suit still sitting
Yeah,
in
how
the
about that?
garage there, and I can't get in it.
Well, at least the zipper will still zip up.
I'm gonna.
I don't
That's
know.
my
It's just
goal. My goal is to
it's
get back into
it's
the the 200-pound flight suit there.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
If you can zip your zipper up, you're okay.
Well,
But that was
eventually.
it's just been a life changing event. All of it has, and I don't know what's going on, but it reminds me back in the when I first started working with LNI.
Mhm.
I would come in for a debriefing, and the admiral's out there, and he's asking his secretaries, "What are y'all doing?" They were putting all these heavy weights all over the papers out there, and she goes, "Well, Commander Adair will come in, and he said when he starts telling us his stories of the missions and stuff, and they all had top secret clearance. They said the papers start whirling in the air. He's like a cyclone." So one day I went out to my plane, and on the side of it was Commander David Cyclone Adair. So that was my handle. That's how I picked up my handle.
Oh
They
my
asked me,
goodness, that's a good
"How
one.
do you get Cyclone?" I said, when I debrief. Um, but Strong Thurman had the best stories. I'd have to debrief with him because at that time he was a national security advisor.
Right.
So he's been in Congress for 60 consecutive years. God Almighty. But I was telling him what happened, and he stops me, looks to my admiral, and he said, "Did somebody drop him on his head when he was young?" The admiral said, "Senator, let me tell you a story about the first day he got here. He shows up, and he's covered in road tar and blood. He's tore all to pieces. He had his dress whites on. He said it
Oh
was
yeah. Yeah, this is the attack.
June 1976. It was June 1976. And I walked into, and I all tore up. And my admiral's looking at me. He goes, "What happened?" I said, "A white rhinoceros mugged me on the Pennsylvania Avenue in between the White House and Freedom Park." And he's just blinking at me. And the admiral said, "Okay, let's try this again tomorrow at 9 o'clock." So I come back at 9 o'clock. So he's telling Strong Thurman this. He said, "Senator, I went home thinking, my God, the Navy has sent me a madman to work with, and what am I going to do with this?" So he gets in his house, he turns on his TV, he's pouring himself a drink because he said I needed one. And here comes the news people, and they go, "Today, the Washington Zoo was transporting a rare white rhinoceros that got loose, mugged a pedestrian on Pennsylvania Avenue, went around the corner, and was recaptured."
Confirmed.
And so the
In the newspapers.
Yeah, the admiral said, "Yeah, on TV."
He wasn't lying.
This
He wasn't
video,
lying.
And yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
what
I don't
the
know if I
admiral
could get away with
told
that excuse.
Thurman.
I don't
Said,
know. Yeah.
he said, "I dropped my glass, I dropped my bottle." He said that man was telling the truth. So if he'd ever run in here and say, "Godzilla's coming down the street stepping on buildings," we're not going to go run and look. We're going to run to the basement as fast as we can, Senator, because the stranger the stuff he says, the more real it gets.
It does. Right.
He said he's been working with us for about 11 years now, and we have found out what he is. He's some kind of lightning rod for the weird and unexplained. It just hunts for him, and it starts. And if you've ever been around him long enough, you'll see it happening.
Yeah.
So after the movie Forrest Gump, people see this stuff happening, and they would tell me, "Run, Forrest, run." But it's been some strange stuff,
Yeah.
I have to admit. And
yeah, David.
anyway,
let me
now back up.
Yeah, let me back up because I'm going to cover two topics, and then we're going to talk about all the fun stuff. But we had a rough couple months, you and I, and I want everyone to listen to this. I have dozens of these calls. Let me see if you guys are going to be able to hear it.
This is Master Sergeant Dickerson calling from the Air Force Recruiting Office. You have been recalled to the draft and to report immediately. You have been recalled in active duty. Get in contact with us as soon as possible, or we will send an escort and the MPs to come return you back to active duty. Thank you for your service in the Biden administration.
Hey, so this is one of many calls that I received. I was getting drafted last month back to the Air Force. I've already been drafted once before in 2000 after my service. And I'm thinking, this has got to be a joke. And it was so perfect because I just moved from my old house, and David knows where that's at, to a different place in Nevada.
Yeah.
And so the guard gates were letting me know, you got these SUVs here and these military guys are coming through the gate. I had to let them in, but I just wanted to let you know because I know all the guard gates, all the security guards from the guard gates from where I used to live. And I'm like, this is some real shit. So I'm like, I'm too old for this. I just got over leftomeningeal cancer, all these things, and not in the best shape ever. So I started calling my, of course, my security people in the military and try to find out, what's going on. So thank God, the first thing Darla said was, you got to get David on the phone right now. And I'm like, yeah, this is getting out of control. They're trying to look for me because I haven't been responding, the way, and, the thing that pisses me off is, oh, this is a President Biden direct order. And I don't take orders from President Biden. I mean, Mr. Biden. And, and I was like, so upset with this because I've done so much for my country in the military. So I called David up and I said, David, this was what's going on. He's like, oh, yeah, that's normal. They do it to me all the time. I said, what? He's like, yeah. He goes, Emery, you already have, a list at the VA about all your injuries, all the stuff that's happened to you. I'm 52 years old now almost. And, David just said, and David saved my life on this. He goes, you contact your primary care physician and you give them, the colonel's number, all the people that were calling me, gave them all their numbers, and they're going to deal with this. And so I called my primary care, and I'm not going to say his name. And he says, yeah, actually, this happens about 3 times a year for certain individuals. And he goes, I'll take care of it. You're just not fit for it anymore. So David is the one who told me. And David, I think I called you up, not so much in a panic, I needed you to tell me your story and tell me what to do.
Right.
And since you did that, it's been smooth sailing. And tell the audience when I called you what you told me, because you had to go through the same. They're trying to recruit us. And I said, Dave, what do they want me for? I said, look at me. I'm not like I was. Yeah. He goes, Emery, they need your skill set. And I said, and it's absolutely true. There were 70 people that I know in a special operations unit that they were calling. And I thought it was because the ET crafts are coming in. They needed someone to communicate. That's my specialty. So everyone knows. And that's why I thought I was being recalled, but it wasn't. It was because of World War III. And David knows about more of this, secret stuff behind. So David, what'd you tell me to do that day? And please tell everyone what you did when they called you.
Well, what happened when you called? You were highly concerned, and you had good right to be, because these yahoos, when they start this stuff, they'll get to a point where they just hide behind trees and throw a damn net over you, literally, and drag you off. So you got to do something about it. So I was listening to you, and I thought, this is illegal. They can't do this. I remember telling you that. Call your VA doctor, get the VA in on this, and they'll find out that they have no rights, because the VA report will actually overshadow national security. So,
which I didn't know that at all.
When you contacted your physician, yeah, I've been down this road so many times. I remember they came at me once, and I said, I've been in 4 combat theaters, guys. I said, I was in Vietnam, then Operation Grenada, then Operation Just Cause, then Desert Storm. And then they wanted me for Iraqi Freedom. And I said, have y'all looked at me lately? I'm thin on top and thick in the middle. I can't even walk across the parking lot without wheezing. And they said, yeah, well, we just want you for training. I said, training?
Uh-huh.
We lose more people in training than we do in the actual combat. I said, you want me to go out there and command a bunch of 18-year-olds? They'll run me over like a freight train. I said, I can't do this anymore. So I went and got my physicians, and sure enough, they said, yeah, you can't do this. I said, well, we have this. Said, well, you don't, because he's served more than his share, and you can't keep dragging him back. Well, we need a skill set. They use that word skill set a lot.
Yeah.
And I said, I remember when I was in court suing the VA through the Navy, or getting the Navy, my pension came up, and the judge was sitting there, and he said,
yeah.
no, he said, see this over here? And he had a stack of papers, and he said, that's about 50 people. See this over here on my right? It's like that. And he goes, that's just his. How much? He asked two sitting admirals that were active in the Pentagon. They were sitting with me, along with my U.S. senator, my U.S. congressman, and my attorney. And the judge asked him, how many people did it take to replace him? And the admirals are looking around. They said, that's classified. No, it's not. Not in this court. They said, 4. What? 4. It took 4 people to replace me. He said, well, I think you got your money's worth out of him. So there's limits to what they can keep doing to you.
Yeah, it was getting scary with the calls and the threats, the threats and calls, and
oh yeah,
we were trying to be incognito.
Oh man, they'll shut down your credit cards and your bank account and really mess with you.
They were. And, it was great
really
because
have to get proactive.
Yeah.
I had the ARs ready at the door.
Go ahead, darling.
If they were going to try to pick him up, they were not going to make it through the door.
Yeah. She was locked and loaded on every door in the house. And I said, well, let's just talk to him. We don't need to get violent. Darla, she's like, no, there's only one way this is going to end. And they're not coming through. So I told the colonel it wouldn't be wise for him to keep looking for me. And he says, we've talked to the VA. We understand the situation. And we will not be bothering you anymore. However, if something came up, would you mind if we called you? I said, it depends what time of day it is. I was being cocky. And I said, yeah, you can call me anytime. And it ended on a nice note. But it was very violent for 2 weeks. And it ended.
Yeah,
it ended
very
aggressive.
Especially
I wanted to thank you, David, for doing that.
Especially if you're dealing with well, that's all right. It was just ridiculous to start with.
If they're still calling us, there's a problem.
They take advantage. Right, and they bully people by their lack of knowledge. They don't know what your rights are.
It felt like
they
that.
Just eat you up.
And I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to respond to that. I was actually concerned, and I know how they can get.
Yeah, you were. I could tell. Yeah, I could tell you were. And I thought not to worry. This is illegal. Just get the VA involved.
And I'm thinking, how many other?
Remember who else?
How many other David Adairs and Emery Smiths, pilots and scientists out there are they bullying? And these guys just show up, and they don't know they have a choice. I mean, it must be outrageous. Oh, there's Darla. Darla, that's a PS90.
Yeah.
That's my new
PS90.
Cool.
Yeah, that matter of fact.
Be careful.
I think you what did you put in my bedroom when I was visiting you?
Yeah, this
my
is
bedroom.
The one we had.
Now
you had the PS90, the Fabergé National PS90 automatic 50 rounds.
That's all.
I think we kept changing them out. We gave you an R15 too on the other side of the bed.
Yeah,
you gotta tell everybody
like when
you come the M4s when you come visit Emery, you get outfitted with every survival thing in your room just in case.
Yeah, my favorite was the
one
I always used was the
MP5.
Yeah, hell, I used to sleep with it. with an MPK5.
That's the best one.
And
My favorite.
what I now have, they O&I let me keep my last one, and I have an MMP Smith and Wesson military and police, and it's got a silencer on it and a light and a laser, and that's what I use at night. At least I want to make sure who I'm shooting at night, and I don't shoot a neighbor.
Yeah,
But
no, that's a good one to have. Very reliable, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
My new Christmas
present.
Darla's new present there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it's a 15-pound baton. Okay, let me see it.
People say that we're paranoid.
Oh my god,
we're not paranoid.
We're not paranoid.
We're not paranoid.
We just like to kill people.
We got a heightened state of we have a heightened state of awareness. That's all.
That's all it is. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to fight. We don't want to hurt anyone, but. You don't want to come into David.
Not really.
You don't want to come into David Adair's house unannounced or Emery Smith's house unannounced. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh man, that would not be very healthy to do. And the neighbors know that. They always call before they come down. If they don't get me on the phone, they wait until they see me out in the yard and they wave at me. But
what the neighbors are looking
at my neighbors are.
When Darla and I are loading the cars up with the weapons, the neighbors are always looking at us going, what the hell are these guys going to do?
Yeah. I fired off these flares once. I was testing a new type of magnesium flare, and it lit up the whole countryside like it was noon. And it was like 2 o'clock.
Those are hot.
And when I fired the thing off, and it went off, all I heard out in the neighborhood was "Ay caramba, el diablo." they consider me the devil down here sometimes, and stuff. I'm launching out of the place all the time, but that's why I live on top of a mountain and have 2 acres of gravel around the house. So I don't even have grass. It's a lot safer that way, y'all.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dave, that's the new K9 unit.
Oh man,
it's one of them.
I was gonna say I hadn't met that one.
That's only 3 months old. 3 months.
Look how big it is.
Cane Corso from Italy.
My nephew said he ended up with a dog down at the beach. He's remodeling his house. I said, he was asking, can I bring the dog back? And I said,
R2.
Well, what kind? I said,
R2.
I said, what kind of dog is it? And he sent me a picture. It's a big pit bull. It's got a square face. I said, God almighty, that's a pit bull. And he goes, yeah, it's real lovable. I said, I guess it is. But it looked like it could chew a tire off a car.
These guys right here, their father, when he puts his hands up on the cage, his hands are I'm 6'3". His hands are 6 inches higher than me. He's a foot taller than me. The father is the largest Cane Corso in the world. A couple 100 pounds. These guys are a cross between like a Mastiff and a Pit Bull. They're now AKC registered in the United States. They just recently got to the United States in the late 80s. I'm sorry. So they're a really great dog. I had my French Mastiff was called Beowulf, and of course my other Pit Bull was called Raven. They both passed away 4 years ago. So because of Beowulf and Raven, I nicknamed these two. These 2 dogs are called R2, B2 because of Raven and Beowulf. So R2, B2 are their names. They have middle names too. His middle name is Draco, and her middle name is Harley Quinn. So they're basically B2 Draco Smith and R2 Harley Quinn Smith.
Great, guys.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that. But by the time you get here in the spring, they're going to be Giganosaurs. And those are another weapon we use around the around the compound here. So they really are very, very smart. They can open doors that have handles. They already know, they listen very well. they have the largest brain and largest skull in the canine family. And I don't know if that's
Yeah.
good or not. Plus, I genetically made them, so I know they're going to be okay. I mean, look how I did with Darla. That's a joke. No one gets my jokes. David, you're the only one who can vouch for me.
I got it.
So, all right, Dave, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, people are going to want some questions answered. So I'm going to go to the audience now before David and I, we'll do some questions and then we'll get into some other fun things. So let me start with, if you want, I'm not going to scroll all the way up. Just go ahead and put some questions in. Okay, let's see. Hey, Ted. Hey, Lan, Dwight. We got everybody here. Let's see. Andrew's here. Catherine's here. Vanda's here. All right. We got a whole group of people in here now. Okay, so here we go. I think we got everyone too excited with all the weapons and all the talk about shooting people. Okay, guys. Leanne says hello. Everyone says hello, David. Got a big group here coming in.
Hi, Leanne.
He says hello to everyone. If you have any questions, you can go into that, or we're going to go to the next subject because David and I have a lot to talk about. One of the things that David and I were talking about most recently is we're talking about the F-14 Tomcat. But before we do that, we gotta compliment the most distinguished pipe I've ever seen in my life that David Adair is in ownership of. And there's a story behind it. And I love this story because every time you see a picture of this person, in the past and all his pictures, he has this pipe. And who is that, David?
Well, the pipe it's got a name. It's called an Omega, made by a company called Dr. Garbo, which ironically is about 45 minutes by car from my house up in Mount Airy. But I got this pipe because I was around the guy all the time and I admired his pipe. So one day he just comes in and hands me this little box, open up, and it's this pipe. And this person is Dr. Alan J. Hynek. And he had a goatee. He'd always pull that pipe out and start stroking his goatee, and I knew something was going to happen because he's really thinking. And the way we met was just crazy. I was in the Navy. I was in uniform at the time. I was having lunch, and a errand person came to me and said I had to report to Sinkland Flint. Remember Sinkland Flint? They're the ones that controls the entire Western Hemisphere navies. I mean, they're powerhouse. The only thing above Sinkland Flint is Washington. So the admiral called me into his office, and I'm standing there. Yeah, Admiral, here I am. He says, "We got a problem down there in the Bermuda Triangle area." I said, "Yeah," because satellites go over the area, and their memory banks have been magnetized or something, but they have to reprogram them. It's really becoming a problem. So I want you to go down there and fix that. And I'm standing there looking at him like, "You want me to go down to the Bermuda Triangle and fix the problem?" Yeah. And I wasn't being facetious, but it must have came across that way. I asked him, "Well, do you want me to do it before or after lunch?" And he looks, oh man, he gives me such a look. And he says, "We can do it after lunch. Go have chow and then go." So I did just that. I go to lunch, come back, suit up, get an F-14, and off I go. And a couple hours later, I'm down at Key West.
Oh my goodness!
So I land at Key West, and I go over to the commanding officer. And I walk in his office, and big, nice office, very pretty down there in Key West. And there was a big couch type thing on the side of the room, and there's a little guy sitting there with a goatee, and he's watching me. And I walk in, I go, "Here I am, Admiral. I'm from Sinkland Flint. I'm supposed to fix your problem." He says, "Yeah, well, see what you can do about that." And I'm looking at this guy sitting over here on the couch, and he's quiet. And I said, Is there anything else I need to know? And he said, oh, yeah, my friend over here. His name is Dr. Alan J. Hynek, and he's doing some work for us, and I want you and him to work together and start with your project. And I said, okay. So I going out the door with with Dr. Hynek, and I didn't know who he was or what he did. And then he started telling me all this UFO stuff. So I told him just wait out here in the lobby for a minute, and I went back into the office, see the commanding officer. This guy's some kind of UFO nut. I don't need this stuff. And he said, well, can you say the word order? I went, oh, God. Okay. Yeah, I can. So he said, you'll find things to do with him. So I was looking at this big globe that was in the admiral's office. It was huge. It's like, thing must be 7 feet in diameter.
And I have to cut. I got to cut in. I got to cut in because you got to tell them where else that was seen. I'm so excited about this right now because I love Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah. Well, see what happened. What happened? I'm looking at that globe, and we left, and I went out, and I got back with Alan Hynek, and I said, Alan,
this really
did you have
happened.
that big
This
globe in that
happened.
office? He goes, yeah. We're coming back tonight. We're going to steal that globe. And Alan stopped and he looked at me and said, the rumors about you are true. I said, yeah, what rumor is that? He said, never mind. So we came back and, shit, my rank, I just walked up to the office about 2:00 in the morning. Guard snaps to attention. I tell him, I'm here to collect some things from the admiral's office.
David
and
took the globe. It was David.
Yeah. So I told Alan, get on the other side, pull that pin out, and he did. And the damn thing's heavy. Boom, it hits the floor. And we start rolling it down the hallway, and Alan's laughing like hell. And I says, what's so funny, Alan? He goes, oh, my God, we must look like Felix the cat with the big ball. I went, oh, God, I guess we do. So we rolled it out to the pickup truck I got from Motor Pool, and there's a rubber tire spare that I threw in the back, and the globe rolled right up on it and held it like a pedestal. So we drove over to a hangar that I've arranged where we could have the workshop, and we go to work on this globe. And so right where the scale of this globe is so perfect. And so I scale these tubes, and I put one at each point of the triangle, and then they come up to a point where they made a tripod. Then I put a soda straw where the tripod meets, and then I took a big long welding rod and I went through the soda straw, down through the center of the Bermuda Triangle, pushed it on through the globe out the other side. And guess where we came out at? In the middle of an area called the Devil's Oval in the Sea of Japan. And Alan stepped back and looked at it and said, God, David, that's amazing. You just made a link, a physical link of the Sea of Japan and the Bermuda Triangle. I said, yeah, well, that's besides the point. I'm trying to figure something out here. So what I was looking for the azimuth for the satellites when they come over the Bermuda Triangle. So all I did was just have them change the coordinates. So the satellite would come in an orbit and it would just do a zigzag and then keep on course. And it worked perfect. And it came out the other side. Memory banks were still in place. And then Alan got excited again. I said, now what, Alan? He goes, you just proved that there's some kind of physical beaming. He said, I call it a vector.
Right.
Coming through the Bermuda Triangle, going through the entire Earth out through the Sea of Japan and vice versa. I said, yeah, it's like a highway.
Right.
I'm just establishing where those points are so we can just zip around them. He said, that's amazing. So I called NORAD, gave them the coordinates. They give it to the satellites group, and they program it. So they come through on our orbit, and every satellite passed through there did not have a problem. And so I told Alan, I'm leaving. I've solved my problem.
Right.
Did my job. I'm going to go back to Norfolk. So I go in, tell the admiral everything's fixed. And he said, yeah, we got confirmation the satellites are fine. And he said, you're not going anywhere. I said, excuse me? He said, you're reassigned. You're reassigned to me. And you're going to stay with Alan for however long he needs you. And for the next 8 or 9 months, I hung out with Alan Hynek, and I didn't know who he was. I thought he was just a quirky little guy. He's funny as he could be. When we went to a motel when we were traveling, as soon as we get in the motel room, he'd take the keys to the room and throw them at the door. And they'd hit the door and slide to the bottom. I go, "What are you doing that?" He said, "I can't find my keys in the morning, so I can't get out of the room."
Yeah.
So that's the way that's Alan Hynek.
That's
the
Alan
one I
Hynek.
knew. And
And
I saw the TV.
the whole
Oh, I
globe.
saw the TV.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, he came up. He came up to me. He called me one day after I left him. It was several years since I heard from him. Then he called me up. And he said, "Hey, I'm working on as a consultant on this movie." I said, "Well, what's it called?" He said, "It's called Close Encounters."
Yeah.
Oh, the term, yeah, you phrase. I said, "Yeah." He said, "I put you and me in the movie." I went, "Oh God, Alan, you can't do that. I'm under an NDA, a security oath, all kind. Good God, we're going to go to jail." And he goes, "No, only you and I will recognize the scene. Go watch the movie." So I'm sitting horrified. I'm in the theater, thought, I'm going to go to jail. And then the guys in the movie are all arguing about things, and they finally figured out what that noise is. Then they got the equivalent, and they got the longitude, latitude, and the guy says, "I'm a map maker." And they said, "Well, let's look at the position of where this is." And do you remember the scene where they pulled the pins out of this big globe and rolled it down the hallway? Alan said, "You'd recognize them." I went, "That's me and Alan J.
I love
Hynek in
it.
Key
I
West."
love it. And the pin. Don't forget about where the
So
pin went.
Yeah. Well, they found out where the coordinates was, the Devil's Tower. And I was sitting there going,
Yeah,
interesting, the term Devil's Tower, and we're with Devil's Oval in Sea of Japan.
exactly.
So Alan said, "Yeah, you'd recognize the whole scene." I said, "Well, that is kind of an unusual coincidence. Not coincidence at all." But anyway, he was right. He got slid. We slid right past the security sensors, and I did recognize the scene. And he got it complete when we pulled both the pins out and rolled it down the hallway. And I thought, God Almighty, that is very slick how Alan Hynek did that.
That was fun.
But
that was great. I love it.
That's
Every time I see
those
that
are
scene,
things like that. So if you ever watch that, yeah,
every time
remember
I see
that.
that scene, I think of you.
That's where.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
David,
where it
Dwight
came
has a
from.
couple questions. Did you guys see them in the
Okay.
chat?
Yeah, Dwight
Sure.
from New York. Yeah, Dwight. Yeah, I see it right now. Dwight. So David, Dwight's from New York. He's a great guy. He's I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about what he does. He's a lawyer, and he works with the senators and all sorts of great things. His question is, what did you think about the recently announced breakthrough of fusion energy reactors at Livermore National Laboratory? If you have anything to say about that. And he also wants to know if you ever
I do.
and if you ever rebuilt Pithlum to get to the next stages that you previously spoke about, and on our other webinars and on our show. So there's two questions there. So what do you think about the?
Oh, he's been Lawrence Liver Laverne claim. They got the same problem. It's a fundamental problem.
Mhm.
They think they've got it, but you'll find out that they won't have it. And I went to the Cannon House, which is where all the congressmen are. And I didn't know this. I'm not real familiar with all the protocols. I saw this elevator. It was so damn packed I couldn't get in it. And this other elevator over there hardly had anybody in it, so I ran over to it. Well, it turns out I ran past a sign that says, "This elevator is for congressmen and senators only." So I get on that elevator, and my back's to everybody, and the door's closed, and we're going up, and they're in a heated argument, and they were talking about fusion containment. And I told them the same thing I said about Lawrence Livermore's problem, is that they were complaining about the billions of dollars they have spent, and they still can't get the fields to contain.
Right.
And I told him, I'm just standing facing the doors of the elevator, and I say in the elevator, I went, "You're never going to get them to sustain their shape because you only got half the damn design." And the elevator goes quiet, and they go, "What are you talking about? You're working with a tutorial compressor. Looks like a Nautilus.
Right. Yes.
You need two of them. You hook them together, and if you turn the figure 8 sideways in math, what is it? Infinity. That's
Infinity.
exactly
Yeah.
what you got to get is infinity field." And I said, and then they asked me, "What's it look like?" Well, physically, it looks like two octopuses having sex. And they went, "Good God!" And then these two women asked me, "Who are you?" I said, somebody shouldn't be on this elevator. So doors open, I get off. And the women were trying to get hold of me, and I found out who the women were. They were the editors of Fusion Containment magazine, trade magazine. They wanted to talk to me. So I just scooted on out there, and I told them, think about what I said. Don't focus so much on who said it. Just listen to what's being said. You got only half the design. Double it, and you might get the fields to sustain. So
Yeah. I totally
that's
understand
what I
that.
think about Lawrence Livermore. They're not going to get containment of the fields because they only got half the design. So there's the answer to Lawrence Livermore.
There you go.
Now the second question
Fifth one.
is a good one. I haven't went any further from phase 1 to phase 2, simply because I haven't had the funding. And I mean, the type of funding I need would not be quite as much as they're spending now. They've done spent nearly $50
Right.
billion. Um, but I would need several hundred million to get the vacuum chambers, all the necessary equipment pulled together. And I would like to build Pittsland again. It would really be, man, it sure would. It sure would shake up some people. And but the good thing about it for you, the average folks out there, what's that mean to you? You don't see yourself flying at the faster speed of light out there in space. But what it means, I wasn't building a new type of rocket engine, although the rocket was the medium I used to verify it. But you will get a new power plant. It's a new energy source.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing this back in 1971. So everybody's talking about new energy source. We got this, we got that. We made all within the last couple of years. Bullshit. Back in 71, I rebuilt one and it worked. I wanted to go to phase 2, but I never got there because General LeMay and Arthur Rudolph and their tug of war stopped me at phase 1. They wanted a first strike weapon, which is not what it's designed for. I'm trying to make a new power plant where you'd have something about the size of a suitcase that you'd plug into your house and run your entire house energy free for the rest of your life. And you know what? They don't like that because they can't charge for it. Well, too bad. Free energy.
And also
but that
the EMP proof.
Design.
Yeah, you could do the EMP thing too, where not only can that,
Yeah,
it can be automatically hooked up.
And that's not that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I could bring it into your house
Mm-hmm.
and put a Faraday cage around it, which is no more. It's not rocket science, y'all. It's a chain link fence. You can put it around the unit or around the whole house.
Yeah.
And what it does when an EMP pulse comes in, it just grabs the pulse and grounds it into the earth, and it doesn't hurt anything.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever's inside the Faraday cage is fine. So it's not like I created something new and fantastic. Hell, it's old World War II stuff. I'm just implementing it and using it. That's what it is.
So, yeah, it really bugs me, David.
That's what I'm trying.
It bugs me. It bugs me that you, myself, and others, you went kind of to Congress, and you by yourself was able to, give the lecture on how to EMP proof the United States of America. Very honorable thing he was doing.
Right. Yeah.
And he was shot down
Yeah,
by
for the
this
grid.
silly senator from Alaska, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I remember we were fighting
No, you're
so
right.
hard for this. And it's sad because other countries wanted to work with us, but it was sad that the United States has these brilliant people like David here that are willing to help protect the United States by not upending the entire grid, actually utilizing the same grid. Okay. Because one EMP
Yeah.
that goes off in the United States, and for the record, this is classified that information that I did receive this month. There were over 70 backpack suitcase nuclear bombs that went through the borders that they're aware of, and they have
Yep.
all of them were contained except for 9. It was 7, but now last week it's 9 that they're
No.
looking for. Now that's not good for anyone on the planet, and I do see some sort of terrorist attack happening in
Right.
2024 that we're aware of, that they cannot, and who knows what else got through, and they have special satellites that we have that we can track, anything, anywhere, that's given off that kind of signature. However, someone is not releasing all the information, and someone also knows how to hide an energy signature, and this is all new technology. And I think the
Yeah.
higher ups above the 1%ers know where they're at, but they're seeing how this silly, horrific game plays out. But getting back to how horrible even just an EMP bomb would be, David will get into that scenario. What would happen if we had just one city get EMP'd, or just all the cities, the
Oh
major
my
cities
God.
get EMP'd? And David's going to talk about
If you just
how
have one city,
yeah, just one, yeah.
an electromagnetic fusion containment or electromagnetic pulse,
Pulse.
EMP, if it goes off, it just takes one city down. Let me tell you what will happen in the first hour, the first day. In the first hour, you'll be in the vicinity of an EMP strike, and you'll notice all the lights get really bright, like flash bulbs. Boom, and they're gone. Everything's dark. Computers go down, TV, radio, telephones, everything just flash gone. Now, what will happen? This is where the fun starts, if you want to call it that. But the first thing that you'll notice is all the transformers, the big gray cylinder things on the telephone poles, they're filled with oil. The oil keeps them cool so they can transfer all the electricity through. Well, they're going to spike, and when they spike, they're all going to detonate. So now you got this 55-gallon drum of oil that's going to detonate into napalm. It's going to blow everywhere. You're going to see people running down the street on fire, people pushing baby carriages, they're on fire. Baby carriages on fire. Everybody's dying. And so you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Call 911. You can't. There is no way to call. No radio.
The fire trucks and all the cop cars are disabled.
Yeah, the engines are shut off. So the pumps are down. You can't even put it out if you could. And then that's just in the first 10 seconds. Now here comes the next wave. In the first minute, 3 minutes, here they come. Thousands of aircraft in the sky. And they're crashing everywhere. They're landing into hospitals, libraries, schools. Their engines are shut off and they can't restart them. So they all start falling out of the sky and crashing everywhere and burning up the place even worse, making more fires. You got the napalm stuff going off in the transformers. You're burning from coast to coast. That's just the first 10 minutes. In the first minute, really. All that's going on. Your cops run around like chickens with their head calls because they don't know what's going on. They just know as much as you do.
Yeah, mobile phones and radios don't work.
No, everything's out. land, cell phones, towers, satellites. It's all gone. And the satellites aren't bothered because they're further out in space. But the thing is, all the ground relays are gone, so you can't use it. Can't get to the satellites. So that's just the opening of the first few minutes. So you got millions dying in fires, hundreds of millions of acres burning, no way to put it out. And that's just the start. Well, what else could happen? There's no food, there's no water, there's no medications. All that stopped. You got thousands dying from burns and explosions. They're going to lay there and die because there's no EMTs coming. So now they die and their bodies start rotting within 24 hours. And now you got disease everywhere, contamination of water. You can't get a drink, can't eat. How's this for a fun day? And that's all would happen in the first 24 hours. People have no idea what the power is behind an EMP attack. Well, it's not going to blow me away. I ain't worried about it. Oh, no, don't worry about it. It'll kill you in the long run. In the short run, you'll be okay. It just really takes out all your electronics. Now, be aware that in the storm of 1869 in September, Earth was hit by a CME. That's a fact. Yeah. Look it up.
Right.
Storm of 1969.
That's worse. That hits the entire planet.
Yeah, it did. It covered the entire planet.
Corona massive.
You could have read ejection. You could have read. People read newspapers in New York at midnight by the light of the Aurora Borealis. It was so charged. And then what happened? What happened in 1869? That's only 4 years after the Civil War. Mm-hmm. Electronically, there wasn't much going on. The only thing you really had was the grandfather of the internet, known as telegraph. Well, there's little shacks caught fire, and the wires caught fire, and the people stomped it out, and that was it. Forward to today, your entire power grid is 40 feet in the air on telephone poles. All of that's gone in a blink of an eye, just gone. And people are worried about so-and-so in Hollywood just got divorced. Oh, my God. Real Housewives of Atlanta and that kind of shit. And it will be nothing but shit because that's all gone. And then you're dealing with a reality that is beyond anything your worst nightmares could be. And it doesn't have to be like this, y'all. There's no reason for you to be under such a cloud.
Correct.
Because, for less than $1 billion, I could harden your grid where EMPs could go off all day long every day and they're not going to bother. But no, nobody wants to do anything about it.
They are suppressing our technology, and you guys need to know about this.
Oh,
because they had many opportunities. Yeah. We brought them many opportunities. David went far and beyond bringing the science to them, and they still shut us down to this day, even with the energy devices.
I called Senator Muskowski, I think, of Alaska. I called her a cum sucking bitch on Coast to Coast Radio, and they got mad at me. He said,
"That's what I love about this show. We can say whatever we want. This isn't Gaia, so you can tell them about that."
Yeah, George Norrie said, "You're going to get sued," and I said, "I'm trying to get sued, George. I'm trying to pick a fight here." I said, "I want her to sue me," and she wouldn't.
She's the one who put the kibosh.
She is the chairman. Yeah, she's murdered all of you at least 3 or 4 times. She's murdered all your children 3 or 4 times. She cut the bills down. She's the chairperson of the committee for the grid, and she shot all this stuff down.
And she don't know shit
because she's a never Trumper. She doesn't, but she's murdered all of you.
A highly uneducated person to be put into that position.
Oh my God, how'd she ever get there? Political. thing. But anyway, the people that were citizens in Alaska started calling me, and they said, "We know of her. She didn't even get elected. Her husband mysteriously died, and she took his place." Oh, come on, y'all.
It
Good God
happens.
Almighty. All this is happening for real.
This
It's
is
past
honest to
tense, and
God
you can
truth,
see it
guys.
on the internet. It's
You
all
can't make this
documented.
shit up. You can't make this shit up.
I'm not making it. No, you
You
can't.
can't make this shit up.
And she's one of the most murderous persons I've ever met. She just annihilated you and your children's future forever. And it doesn't have to be this way.
David, instead of
God
scaring the
almighty, I
shit
can
out of
fix all this stuff.
everybody, why don't you guys help
Yeah.
prepare people? Like, tell them what they need. You know, Emery
Oh,
got
that's the
go bag with all kinds of stuff in it, and
the radiation gas mask and all that stuff. Yeah.
and you can.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
thyroid.
you should pay attention to
What
preppers.
they should have,
There you go.
so they don't.
Oh my God,
so they're
again.
prepared.
That's perfect. Yeah. What that does, that iodine will get in there and block the oh God, I forgot the name of the gland that absorbs radiation.
Your thyroid. Your thyroid and
thyroid. Thank you. That drug will block the radiation from getting in your thyroid.
If you guys want to know where to get all this
Yeah, look at that.
If you guys want to know where to get all this stuff, go ahead and email me at cosmicmarket3@gmail.com. And I'm going to start making go bags for people because I got a lot of people are inquiring, Emery, what's in your go bag? And I'm like, which go bag? Because there's the go bag that I have if I have a car.
Yeah, we
you know, there's a go bag if I have a horse. There's a go bag that I only have if it's just me, where I only have one little backpack and I can't use a car. And then there's just the get the fuck out, because that means whatever's on you at that point, you can't make it home. You're stuck at Walmart. Nothing works.
That's right.
And you got to just deal with what's on you, which is hopefully at least a knife and a gun, and you'll find water later, or you'll kill someone to get it. I mean, you just need you got to have a plan in place.
I got I'll call them Bob bags, BOB, bug out bag.
We call them GTFO bags,
which means what the name implies. You grab that bag. Yeah, go bag's good. Bug out bag. You grab these bags and run. I've got several back here by the back door, and when you grab it, there's 60 meals in there. That if you can heat water, any way you can heat water, burn trash, garbage, heat up the water, you got 60 meals waiting for you, and they're lit. And they're nitrogen packed, which means their shelf life is 35 years.
So it's a type of for the audience. I want to tell them
5-gallon.
It's a type of MRE, medical readiness, food that's prepackaged.
Meals ready to eat.
Yeah, MREs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've cooked up a couple.
Yeah, they're
just
not
to see
bad.
what they taste like ahead of time. They're not bad at all. And if you're starving, they're going to taste like a sirloin steak. I mean, geez.
It is. It's great. I mean, I like to trade my spaghetti. I like to trade my spaghetti though for the vegan one.
Yeah. Well, don't laugh at preppers, because you're going to want to be around a prepper when things like this happen. And we are so vulnerable to an attack. It is not funny. And how close are we?
It's right. Exactly.
Like Donna said,
it's about when it's going to happen, not if.
Yeah, it's not if, it's when. We just stopped attack. Look us up on the internet.
Yep.
There was a cargo ship that came from Cuba, and it was on its way to North Korea. And it came in the Panama Canal, and they were trying to find the captain because they suspected something. Well, they hunted down the captain, found him up on the bridge, and he had a gun in his mouth. He's getting ready to kill himself. Well, they tackle him, and they capture him. Well, they tear the ship apart, and you know what they find? A fake bottom in the ship, and there's about 6 SS-18s sitting there. Soviet Union intercontinental ballistic missiles. They were on their way to China. They would have pulled those missiles out, sent them back to America, to some place like San Diego. And if you didn't know this, the southwest part of the United States had 0 detection grids for incoming ICBMs or EMPs. So they would come in from Mexico City, launch them. It'd go to an altitude somewhere over St. Louis, detonate, and takes the entire North American continent out in a single EMP strike. And all I told you would be real. And you better go and see Emery and his prepper stuff long before that, because by that time, and once it happens, too late. But
Yeah, they're going to
don't
take
laugh
out
at the preppers. Oh, they're just
they're going to take out the whole.
yeah, they're
all
not
of our
a fruit. They're
ICBMs are
not
going to be
fruit
taken
cake.
out. Yeah, the preppers.
Yeah,
I
so
teach a
you
lot.
can look at that.
I taught Air Force Survival School to many cadets, and it's something that's just entrained in David's mind and mine as just a way of life. And Darla knows this of me, that it's just there. Everything's there, ready to go whenever we got to go. The thing is, you got to practice with it.
Yeah.
You got to practice putting your gear on. You can't buy stuff and leave it in there. You got to have your radioactive detectors.
That's right.
We have radioactive detectors on our suits. We have gas detectors
like you
on our
learned, you
suits.
wanted to swap out your you want to swap out your spaghetti for something else you like.
Yeah, you don't want to get,
but no,
that's you don't want to get caught there with the beans and rice with the tuna. Okay, you got to give that, give that to one of your other family members.
That's very practical. That's practical advice.
And the water thing too. You got to have a filter, a special ceramic filter. If you find water, it's not going to be feasible to carry 2 gallons of water 100, 3, 5, 6 miles. It gets old pretty quick.
Do you guys have those filtered straws?
We have the filtered straws and all the go bags.
It's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's very good. You get them at Costco. They're very cheap.
You take this filtered straw.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
put it in the toilet. Put it in the toilet and suck away.
Yeah. And just suck, and the filter will clear it out, and it's good for about 2 gallons.
99.9%.
And it really works.
Yeah, 99.9% of viruses.
Boy,
bacteria.
what I wouldn't give to have. I would give anything to have a couple straws like that in Vietnam.
Oh man, you guys would have.
Yeah, there was plenty of water to drink there, but
plenty of giardia and dysentery. Giardia and dysentery was getting you.
Yeah, enough to go around for everybody.
I mean, all the water that you've been carrying just comes flying out of your ass.
And if you
see, you get my grenade jokes. You get my grenade jokes.
Yeah, really. Well, it's always fun. Pull the pin, throw the grenade in the room. Let's see what happens. But yeah, it's that ship I talked about. You can look it up on the internet. They've got pictures of it.
Mm-hmm.
These SS-18s are from the Soviet Union from the Cold War days of 1964, and they had sold them, and they were on their way to North Korea. They were getting ready to launch an EMP on us with those things, and we caught the ship. It was under 100 tons of sugar. They pulled all the sugar bags out.
Brilliant.
And it took them 2 days. Yeah, and laying in a false bottom was these SS-18s. So that's how close it all. Yeah. And then there was another thing. Do you remember July of 2012? We had not 1, not 2, but 3 CMEs coming from the sun. A CME is like a bead of sweat. You go across your forehead and sling the sweat off. That's exactly what the sun's doing, except these beads of sweat are the size and mass of Mount Everest. They're highly charged proton mass.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's gigantic. And they'll come in. Those 3 that in 2012 were heading toward us from the sun, distributed through the solar system by the solar winds, which move at the speed of light, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, these 3 CMEs are on their way to Earth. And I love this. I love the story. You can check it out. It's on the internet. Type in July 2012 and see what happened. First of all, something bumped the 3 CMEs. I went, wait a minute, can we define that a little better? What the hell is bump? Nobody would explain anything. I said,
Yeah.
so out there by the asteroid belt and Mars, something bumped these CMEs. So what's the big deal? The damn CMEs were going to hit us dead center, just like September 1869. It's coming again.
It is.
Now, the first CME would have blown the Van Allen radiation belt away. The second CME would have hit.
Can you guys see this?
Look at that. I'll tell you, y'all y'all gonna need to check them people out, because look like they got a grocery store going there. Shit you're gonna need. So the second CME
We have it
will
all.
take out the upper atmosphere. Yeah, you do. The ionosphere, the stratosphere, the
magnetosphere,
mesosphere, and the troposphere. All that. They're all blown away. Now here comes the third CME, and it would cascade over the entire planet and burn us back into the Stone Age. God almighty, I'm not making this up, y'all. I wish I was. But it's real. And you'll love this. When you type in 2012 for the storm and all that, ask to see where the government was. Oh, you're going to love this. The government and their families, that's the 435 congressmen, the 100 senators, the cabinet, they were all at Mount Weatherby at an open house. Bullshit. They were all there with their families. They were going to close the door and say to us, good luck, motherfuckers.
That's it.
Close the door and we're going to have to face something. They will have to face all this. That's a fact. It's on the internet. Look at it.
David, it's like
that's your government going to help.
David, you remember the movie Predator, right? You know Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Remember they're in the jungle. Remember they're in a jungle and they're going, it's just a couple of guys running around in there. And I feel like saying it's just a couple of guys. It's just a couple of guys out by Mars holding some mirrors to reflect.
Yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors, y'all. It ain't real.
It'll reflect.
I never did get an answer.
We're not getting hit. But what did they say? Because I don't remember them coming forward.
Well, I was trying to press them down. I was trying to press them for an answer.
Right.
And the best I got was something bumped. What is something? Something bumped the CMEs. And they passed by the Earth so close they were between the moon and us. 110,000 miles away.
Now, David, are you alluding?
That's phenomenally close.
Are you alluding that it could have been an extraterrestrial civilization that came in to save us? It's okay. You can say it. It's live.
You know, whatever they say about. I don't know, because unless I see it, feel it, touch it.
I know.
Mainstream
that's
here. I
one
can't
of the hypotheses
say. Well, something sure the hell happened.
Something.
And it was real, and something was real, and it was there. And maybe what they say about Galactic Federation might be some damn truth to that. But Mr. Spock and Captain Kirk out there, decided to use the tractor.
It was a couple. It's just a couple of astronauts with some mirrors out there. That's all it is.
Yeah. Honest to God, and you can verify all these stories.
No, that's real.
They're on the internet. Just look them up. YouTube's got it. Like I said, I wish I was lying. It'd be much better for all of you.
Yeah, for everybody.
But unfortunately, it's not. And Darla, she's so right.
Darla's scared
the shit out of everybody.
Darla's showing all the technology used to keep radiation off your skin and your lungs.
Yeah. Yeah, she's over there packing her bug out bag.
Yeah, she's making sure now that everything's still in there.
But there is a way.
Yeah. What do you got?
And you're right about you need to
radiation cloak.
Run through it.
That is so. The radiation cloak. Yeah.
Look at that.
Goes over your whole body. Yeah.
I'm going to be 70 on January 6th. Isn't that something? Resurrection.
Happy birthday, David. Early happy birthday.
Almighty. I can't make this shit up. It's so crazy. So Insurrection Day, I'll be 70. I'm glad I'm 70, because y'all, when it hits, I'm just going to sit out there with a baseball glove. I'll catch the CME. I don't even want to be around. But those of you that's got children and grandchildren, that's not funny. That's a different story. and you should do it for them
Right.
because they don't know this is coming,
No, it's definitely coming.
and it is absolutely coming. It's not if, it's when. And shit, I ain't I'm old enough where I'm not even gonna worry about it. But I worry about for y'all. I really do. I lay in bed and I worry about the average families trying to pay bills, make a decision between do I buy gas or do I get prescriptions.
Mhm.
I mean, it just sucks.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
None of this needs to be this
No,
way.
it doesn't. That's the whole point. But it's going that way.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like this.
Well, there's all
And
sorts of things are
they gave it a
happening.
good try.
Like we got Old Faithful over there. Rise the whole 12 inches in the past couple of years. That's about to
Oh
blow.
God,
That thing's a
don't get
ticking
me
time
started on that
bomb.
one.
That's going to be like 10 Hiroshimas
Is
going
it
off.
ever? There's a
It's bad.
there's a lake out there,
Yep.
and
No.
they used to have a party boat that would sail around on the lake. Well, it caught fire, got too drunk, caught the thing on fire, and it sank to the bottom.
Yeah.
It's been on the bottom of that lake. The damn ribs of that ship is now visible. That means the bottom of the lake is rising from the bubble. It's like 2012. That is a super cauldron. And when that thing goes off, Jesus God, it's going to blow a third of America away in
the whole world
minute.
will be affected. The entire planet in a matter of a week.
Oh yeah.
Once it hits the jet stream, if you follow the jet stream, it goes right over there and then over the whole U.S., back up, and then over to Europe.
And the jet stream moves about 2,000 miles an hour.
Right.
That's just, it's just like I say, y'all. It doesn't have to be this way. You can change it, but time's running out. It really is. If you can't do anything else, save you and your family. Build some bug out bags.
Yeah, the bug out bags.
You'll be so happy.
We'll do a show on the bug out.
Yeah, one day when it's happened, you go to reach for a bug out bag, you'll go, thank you, David Adair, although you may be dead and gone, but we sure do thank you. Because it's better than sitting there with nothing.
Yeah, and it is. Well, David, we got a lot of work to do. I don't want to be around this when it happens, Dave. So we got to up the ante on our spacecraft that we're designing and make sure that's make sure that's completed.
I've never seen the thing.
Be careful, David. We're not supposed to talk about it.
Secret space program. I know.
Well,
I've never seen a secret space program, but I would like to think it's real. No, I wouldn't, because I'll be so pissed off, because here we are running around with chemical rockets, and they got stuff that's light speed capable. Well, I got news for you. If I got my engine to phase 3, I would have left y'all in the dust at light speed, because I can go way faster than the speed of light. I finally figured out in 1971, I answered the riddle that Einstein left us. How can you go millions of times faster than the speed of light without breaking the speed of light and remain constant in Newtonian physics? Well, I figured it out, y'all. My engine could do that. How fast is my engine? Well, on a physical term, for just test flight, God, they're not designed to be launched in an Earth's atmosphere, but because they were one of the first strike weapons, they had to know. Well, they were satisfied when they saw Mach 37.
Yeah, it's beyond
125 miles in 3.2 seconds. That's fast, y'all.
Yeah, what's that called? What's that called, Dave? What's the proper term? I forget. It's not hypersonic.
Yeah, it's past
ultrasonic,
hypersonic.
Ultrasonic.
No, it's it's fast, way faster than that.
It's silly speed. Silly.
Shit, I forgot the term. But
I forgot the term. It's driving me nuts.
Like that damn space ball. Ludicrous speed. Yeah, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous speed.
Yeah, it's godly insane speed. It's not even normal for.
I tell you what, though,
for that type of
I absolutely
material.
love humanity.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to make a
Oh my
difference,
God!
David.
Just for
And
me to
go ahead.
Oh, it was because people ask me, "What do you build your rocket out of?"
Right.
Which is a fair question. It goes back to a thing called
David, I can't hear. David, I couldn't hear you. You cut out. Could you repeat that?
a guy named Bob. Their job was to go around and collect all the knowledge. That's a good way to phrase it. It came back with that the Gestapo's had, and General Lee asked me, "What am I going to rocket? You're going to need a rocket to put it in." I said, "Yeah." So I asked LeMay, "What's the biggest, baddest thing you got in your arsenal?" And he goes, "Oh, the Titan missile." And this is in 1971. So I said, "Have you got one laying around?" He said, "Yes, I do. It's over at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio." So I said, "Let me go to it instead of it coming to me, because these things are 130 feet tall, 13 stories. It takes a 30-man military crew to move them around on the highway." So I said, "Let me go over and take a look at it." So I went over and looked at it. And I came back and I was in my lab, and I'm 17 years old. And LeMay asked me, he says, "How's that rocket going to work out for you?" I was drinking water out of a styrofoam cup. I turned around to him and I crushed the cup. I said, "That is what my engine's going to do to your Titan missile." He goes, "God, what are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to have to build a rocket body around the engine." "How are you going to do that?" "Well, I got some ideas." I said, "First of all, I need some really strange material." And I talked to shape people, and they told me there's something sitting over in England. There's a 2,000
Mm-hmm.
pound block of metal there, and they don't know where it's from. They don't know who made it, how old it is. It just showed up in inventory. So I went over and looked at it, and let me try to explain what it is. Have you ever watched steel plants pour steel? Sparks flying everywhere, men walking around in
Oh yeah.
suits, fire
Yeah.
and all that. And yet overhead is those big vats that's carrying the molten metal. What the hell is the vats made of? That's a good question. I said, I need something like that. That material is called Inconel. Well, this material I found in England is called carbonite. Now, pay close attention. I don't enunciate words very well. I'm from the South. I approach English as a second language. I'm from the land of y'all is singular and all y'all is plural. So anyway, carbonite, Carbnite, not carbonite. That's the
Right.
stuff that they used in Star Wars to freeze old Han Solo. That's Carbonite.
Owen.
You
Right.
take out the O, and so you take the O out of it, and you got this word carbonite, and that's what they call this stuff. And it is incredible. When it's sitting in its natural state, it's so slick, it looks like wet glass. I mean, that's slick. Um, and then I had a second problem. How do you cut this stuff up and work with it if it's so tough? So I had to take a ruby and make it through
A cutter.
rubies grow.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I took a ruby and made it a super ruby from Weightless Environment Construction,
Mm-hmm.
and I grew the ruby crystal. It came back 10 times the size of a crystal on Earth. And I put it in a laser. It's a ruby laser, and that's why I cut the carbonite metal with, and how I was able to shape everything. I used a 5,000 degree cutting torch on that block of metal,
That's
and
amazing.
I put it on it and held it and held it and held it and pulled it away. And then within seconds, the glow's gone, and I can put my hand on it. I couldn't even warm it up. So how the hell am I going to cut it? So the ruby laser was the way to get around that. And now everybody uses the ruby lasers in all the industrial processes we have. I did come out with a patent on that, and I made a few dollars. I retired when I was 49 with all the stuff I've done. But
Yeah, it's amazing, Dave. You're so
anyway,
successful with that. A lot of great
well,
things
see,
you have
people ask me,
invented.
why don't you sell? Well, they say, why don't you sell books and tapes? I don't need to. I don't need the money.
No.
But everybody's on the lecture tour. I mean,
All I'm telling everyone
metaphysical
right here,
circuits.
I'm telling David missed his calling. Screw all these rockets and shit. If you know what he really does behind the scenes, he makes furniture, and I'm dying to have a slab of this furniture because I don't know anyone that chops the top off a mountain and fills it full of gypsum sand and then puts giant rods into space from the ground. All right, Dave. I want to be your
It's
next person. Just tell me how much it is. I want to have it for. I want a big one. I could fit like the whole cast of Game of Thrones on. It's got to be one giant piece. That's come on a big flatbed. Tell them what I'm talking about that you make that is so fucking beautiful.
David, tell us about the crystals under your house.
No,
Oh,
that's second.
hey,
We'll
y'all.
get into that. Let's tell him how he makes crystals.
Y'all not.
Tell him how you make the tabletops.
Well, yeah.
They'll love this. This is stuff that's
Well,
never talked about. This is behind the scenes.
yeah. It's the.
Yeah, walk us through that.
Well, first of
how do you
all,
do that?
rocks grow. Well, what really stretches people's heads is that, first of all, you got to understand rocks grow. What are you talking about? How do you think a coral reef is built? It's rock, but it's thousands of little bodies that sit on top of each other, and the coral reef grows. Okay, so rocks can grow. Now, when you make quartz crystals for the electronic industry, the heart and soul of our electronic industry runs off the quartz crystal. Well, you can grow them things in space, and you do that by to an electric ferritic processor style of containment. Fire the electrons through, the particles get charged, they attract to each other, and you get a layer effect, and you're growing basically a rock. But out in space, things start changing. You don't have the gravity convector fields of the Earth everywhere pulling down, so things grow so much faster and bigger. And but that's only part of the story. When you look inside the crystal with X-rays, you'll see that the crystals that grown on Earth have thousands of gravity convector streaks in them. The crystals grown in space are totally flawless. So that means their capacity to carry data or electronic signals is millions of times more advanced than what you got here on Earth. What are you talking about? A Cray 3 computer. At today's technology, it's still the size of a gymnasium. It will brown out a city when it goes to full power. You can take that 3 computer with my crystals and reduce it down to the size of your little nail of your little finger. Well, why would that be good? One practical application, you got a broken spinal column. What was the name of the guy that rode the horse and fell on his neck? He played Superman.
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, David, we're not on our.
Well, he had a 4-centimeter break.
Chris.
Yeah, he had a 4 centimeter. He had a 4 centimeter break in his spinal column at the neck area. Well, what you do, you take this Cray 3 computer, moving billions of calculations per second, may reduce it down to my little nail, put that crystal in his neck, and like a traffic cop directing signals from the brain at billions of messages per second, it will send it on down to the spinal column, cross the break, And with therapy, he gets up and walks again, has a normal life. That's what can be done, y'all.
Yeah.
That's just a tiny
That's
fraction of what I can
that's
crank out there.
yeah.
Um,
That's so it's
One
so
guy came to me.
it's so into the future what he's talking about, but he's already done it. It's already here, and the new medical
Yes,
is
past
going.
him.
It's actually already happened. The thing is to get that technology out because bones and implants are going to be replaced by crystalline structures, crystals that are grown to spec
Oh,
by
exactly.
the body's own frequency and harmonics will actually print that, from the patient. So as it goes in
Yeah.
there, the crystal will grow
Do you
into
remember?
the femur.
Do you remember people come back from World War II, their legs are blown off, and they say their feet itch, and they said that's hallucinations. Bullshit! It's not hallucinations.
No.
There's a part of the brain down the spinal column that remembers all the cells out to the end of your fingernails, and if they could stimulate that, like what these electronic crystals could, they could stimulate that just like a glass snake or lizard that grows its tail back
Yes.
after it's cut off. You would
Absolutely.
grow your
It's
legs
called
back.
phantom pain. Phantom
It's called
pain is
Yeah,
what they
it's
pain.
technically
phantom pain.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's really not what it
feel.
is. It's actually a real memory.
It's the nerve. Yeah.
But yeah,
The
thank
nerve's
you.
real
Thank you.
still
That's what
really
they
feeling.
call it, phantom pain. And it's not fake. It's real. If you could tap into that and hook these crystals in it and get the combinations together, you grow your damn arms and legs back. What?
Yeah. And
I
that's
mean,
how the med beds were
how,
doing that. Yeah, that's what they were doing in the classified projects with the med
yeah,
beds. They were stimulating the tissue through harmonics and frequencies and crystals to rebuild or regrow an organ or regrow a limb. And it's sad that this is also suppressed from us right now, and it's been out for a while. But
yeah, your med beds work. Do you know? Remember what happened to me? I got bit. My arm was cut up. That's because there's two. There's
you,
two of me involved, and your med beds were trying to
yeah, it was.
work with that, and I
Yeah,
ended up getting bit.
you did get bit.
And remember, I was in it. I said, get me out! Get me out! This thing is biting me, and it did.
Yes,
But
yes.
so don't have another alien entity inside you when you get in a med bed. Is my recommendation.
That's a whole nother classified
But
subject, sir.
it really is. I was sitting there watching it.
I don't know
Jesus,
who was
look at that.
I don't know who was yelling.
I don't know. I heard somebody.
That's better than the
Sound
story
good to
of
me.
every now and then Pifflin talks, and the one time you were out I think in the cave system somewhere on a
Oh
tour,
my God! Yeah,
and tell
Mammoth
everyone
Cave.
tell everyone what happened at Mammoth Cave with
Oh
Pifflin.
my! See, I've always asked Pislam. I have to give lectures and get up in front of the public. Please, whatever you do,
Yeah,
don't start swearing or embarrass me to death. Well, she's been very good about that, but boy, she did do something else. Her humor is super intelligent humor. I'll give you a good example. I went to Mammoth Cave with my doctor wife at that time and her best friend, and they walked us out onto this bridge. They had these big giant aluminum rails over top, so they made it an enclosed cage because they don't want you falling off this bridge because it's 1,000-foot drop. And this is where they turned the lights off and said your eyes will never adjust to the light. And it's a cathedral type structure. So they said the acoustics in here are extremely good.
yeah.
If somebody says like they're 100 feet away from you, half a football field away, and they say you can hear my voice no louder than this, it sounds like your voice is right in your ear because it will just magnify the sound so well. So we get out on the bridge and we stop walking. They turn off the lights, and all you hear is dripping water. And you can hear people whispering to each other because it's so crystal clear in there. And then all of a sudden, I feel air coming up through my lungs to my voice box. Like, I'm going to say something. but I have no idea what I'm going to say. I thought, oh, this ain't me. This is, oh God, what are you going to do? So in a very deep voice, you hear throughout the darkness, "Hey, lady, that ain't no handrail." And people start exploding, laughing because we had them giant handrails over top of us. And you hear scrambling on the wall over there, and it's the ranger trying to
Oh
get the
my
lights turned
gosh.
back on, and he's
Oh my
laughing.
gosh.
Who in God's name said that? So I'm just like everybody else. I'm looking around. Who was that? Who said that? And I was pissed when they said that. I'm good, but I ain't that good. But that's not the
I
first time
love
she's done
I
that.
love that
She's
story.
happened several times.
That's a very funny story.
I remember one time in Las Vegas that did it. I was up at a Whole Life Expo with Paul Andrews,
All right.
and I'm in this room, and it's sellout. You barely get in the room already. And we had the sliding petition walls, and on one side was a drum corps, on the other side was a grieving circle. Okay, and we're supposed to be a technical workshop because I'm showing you mathematically exactly how
Right.
electromagnetic fusion containment works. I'm up at the blackboard drawing, and I hear the drum corps starting their drums, and I start going in rhythm with it on the blackboard. And finally, I just realized I'm being possessed. Something's going. So I turn around to everybody and go, "Help me up here! I'm possessed!" And they all start laughing, and I'm not kidding. Now there's two doctors here in the front row. Both of them are professors at I forgot where it was, some Ivy League school. They came there to listen to me, and they really liked the lecture. But they were dual PhDs. So I look at them, I look down at them, I tell everybody, look at these dual PhDs. You know what we got? We got a paradox. Pair of docs.
Ah,
I thought,
you still
damn,
got
that
you
was
still
pretty.
got me on it. Okay, you got me on it. Again,
Yeah,
again,
there's
again.
two
Yeah,
doctors,
I got it. It's a fair.
a pair of docs.
Oh my gosh. All
So
right.
that I thought, see, that's the thing about Pestle. She'll overwhelm you with brilliance. And then there was a woman sitting next to the doctors, and she's laughing so hard, she's turned red. She's run out of air. She's trying to get air in her. I jump off the stage and land in front of her and say, "Oh, you've ran out of air." She went like this. She can't say anything. "You're going to die shortly." She's nodding her head. I said, "Well, go ahead and die. I got Daniel Brinkley outside. I'll get you back in time for
Ah,
lunch."
oh,
And the
damn.
place just, and
Oh
I'm going,
no.
"That's not me. That's something else." And
Oh,
it
that's great.
went on for hours of that intensity. And I looked back in the back, and the room monitor pointed down at the door, and all I saw was an arm come up from the floor and opens the door, and don't see a person. They roll out into the hallway. They have laughed so hard they done pissed their pants. And Paul Andrews is almost 1,000 yards away. He hears this screaming. He thinks, "Who's got that area over there at this time?" And David Adair, "Oh, he's got a riot going on." So they come running over with their security people. Well, while I'm going through all these jokes, one after another, rapid fire, like Alan Alda's just got off, and I can't stop it. This guy walks in, and he goes, "We're with the drum corps." I said, "Oh gosh, are we disturbing you?" He goes, "No, they all want to come in here and see what everybody's screaming about." So here comes the drum corps with
All
all their
right.
drums. I said, "Put a
Yeah, I
couple of
remember
drums up
this.
by the front." So I'm talking, and then there's this woman walks up to me, all dressed all in black, and I'm going, "Can I help you?" And she goes, "We're with the grieving circle next door, and you're screaming, laughing in here. They all want to come in here. I think it'd be a good idea for them." I went, "Oh God, I'm sorry. I didn't know we're upsetting." So here comes all the grieving people. This room is so packed, it's like sardines. And Paul gets there just in time as the person's rolling out in the hallway from laughing so hard. He goes, "What in the hell is going on in there?" But it was then another weird thing. My room monitor, his job, he's an Australian guy, lives in Cantor, North Carolina. Anyway, he was to record the room. and then he played the tape backs for us.
Mhm.
You can hear everybody's laughter. You hear the voices, but you never hear mine. It didn't record it.
Wow.
I said, "Is something wrong with the tape machine?" It said, "No."
That frequency didn't
I
want to
said,
be
"I
known.
really need that." No, and I said, "I really need that tape because that one's going to sell record levels." And he said, "Your voice
Can't
is
hear
not
you.
on there."
It's not there. That's right.
And I
Yeah.
went, "Damn." So we never got a recording of it.
Oh, tragic.
But you ask that
Yeah.
room monitor, he'll look you dead in
Yeah.
the face. He said he was watching the needles move and everything was recording, but my voice was not being picked up.
Right.
And I had a lavalier mic fit right into his.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
that's one of those WSFMs
yeah,
moments. You know,
it,
weird science and fucking magic, or freaking if you're going to do it
yeah.
G-rated. Well, David, let me see if people have any
Or
other questions, because I'm going to go to the next little topic here. I know we're getting near our time of cutoff. How you
okay.
how you doing, Dave? Okay. All right. You
I'm
guys,
fine. I'm fine.
you guys have any questions I can throw in? I will before I start my next topic here. Do you need to take a break, Dave, or anything?
No, I'm good.
You're good? Okay. We're not going to go too much longer. So just wanted to make sure
Okay.
everyone got covered. Dwight wants to know if you're willing to testify at the UAP hearings, because Dwight's connected to that with a lot of the senators and stuff. So he was just saying, would you be willing to testify at the UAP hearings? I know I'm not interested in doing that, David, as you and I discussed, since you and I have already turned down Fox News Nation and all the media. But this is different because this is a hearing. So
Yeah.
would you do something like that, David? I don't know.
Yeah, I would do a hearing.
Well, it's good. You hear that,
But
Dwight?
I've had, what was his name? Yeah, I would do a hearing. Reed contacted me.
Yeah.
And asked me if I would testify.
Yeah.
And I told him, not really. He goes, why? I said, I don't trust the politicians. And he goes, why is that? I said, I trust, well, why don't you try? I said, I trust you about as much as I would have a Catholic priest be my babysitter. He goes, oh man, you're hostile. I said, yeah, I guess I would be. I said, what I'm wound up about, I remember what the governor did in Arizona to everybody
exactly.
Flights. Y'all remember that?
This is why I'm gun shy.
He said, oh, we found the pilot of the spacecraft. Yeah, and there was a lot of honest people trying to get the message out.
David's referring everyone to
and the governor brings in a guy. Yeah. And the governor brings in a guy dressed in a rubber suit as a gray and just humiliates everyone that's there. And I'm going, I can't imagine what DC is going to do. Mm-hmm. But so far, they seem to held their integrity to a point where, but they're missing things. What was the guy that's asking the question? Dwight?
Yeah, Dwight was asking that. Yeah.
I got a question for you, Dwight.
All right, go for it.
Well, I got a question for him for his hearing people.
Yeah.
Why is it when David something, not Grush. David Koresh, but the F-14 pilot?
Oh, yeah.
Rush. He said on camera, on air, he said, I know where there's a UFO so damn big, size of an aircraft carrier. We couldn't move it, so we built a building around it. And they just let it roll by.
Yeah, who was that?
Why didn't...
I can't remember.
Why didn't you jump up and go, wait a minute, where is that thing? Let's go.
No one said anything.
Let's everybody pack up all the cameras and stuff. And let's go see that place. Find out who's running the thing, who's paying the power bill, and go at it. Nobody said a word.
No, I know. It's so odd.
By.
And all those whistleblowers too, David.
And then,
like the majority of those whistleblowers are all secondhand information. They're not like us. We're firsthand information.
Yeah. Why are they not talking to? Hell, skip me. You got something even better, Stephen Greer. Yeah. How about the guy Fire in the Sky?
Travis Walton. Yeah.
What's his
Travis
name?
Walton.
Travis Walton. Yeah. There would be a person to interview.
Yeah.
A lot of good people to interview, and they're not bringing them up. They're bringing up all these people I've never even heard
All
of.
right. Leanne said it's David
So I don't know. I've got some
Revere.
real questions.
Yeah, David Revere is the F-14 pilot. I think that said that about.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. And then Dwight said, you know,
Leanne,
but to hear a testimony from an actual experiencer of these programs holds much more weight than someone who hasn't. And I agree with Dwight. I mean, the people they're bringing out, as he said, she said, or I saw a paper and it said this. You know, that's what we call soft disclosure in the government. You know, we're part of a hard disclosure, David and I, but this is the soft disclosure,
yeah,
breaking people in and, you know, also staging some fake crashes that are going to happen next year and some other things to bring light of the extraterrestrial existence. Unfortunately, you know, I was asked to be part of
yeah,
a 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I was asked to be part of a slow disclosure of a craft that was supposed to crash into the Gulf of Mexico. I opted out of that because number one, it's a lie. Even though the information and the event would have been helpful. And they actually had 2 other people that were up for that position, and no one took it. But I can't tell you who did take that recently, that position to be part of that, if they choose to do it. But you guys know him in the UFO community as one of the leading UFO people that are out there. So we'll see what he does and how he orchestrates that. Because you know, once you basically, you know, have one slip up with the media, or if you get caught in one little lie, you know, your whole career is down the tube. So, you know, there's
yeah,
so much truth out there. We don't have to do that. The government thinks it's an easy way out to say, hey, we didn't know they're here. Look at this. Oh, wow. Um, and really they think we're that dumb. I mean, the people, they really think we're that stupid. So we'll see how it unfolds this year. And, you know, we'll know. And that's it. Yeah. Oh, hey, David. David, I
yeah.
haven't seen you all day.
You
David
know,
Campbell.
I was
David
gonna,
Campbell just came in, not David Adair. Um, so yeah,
oh, okay.
what do you think, David? How do you think I mean, how do you think the disclosure is going to go next year? I mean, I mean, it's already disclosure, but you know,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad to see them. I'm glad to see they're doing some things. There is some good coming out of it. They're bringing things up for discussion that have never been discussed before. Um, but I wish they would pursue things more.
Mm-hmm.
Like when that
Yeah.
F-14 pilot said that about that big UFO sitting there. Man, I'd jump up and take a camera crew and go out there and find out who's paying the power bill and find out who's
There you
running
go.
this thing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then when they, then also David, how you say his name?
Grush.
The leader of the thing, Grush.
Mhm.
He'll sit there and go, "Well, I've been told I can't say that. Who told you that? What's their name? Let's get their ass in here in front of a camera.
Yeah.
You know, we're paying.
Yeah.
We taxpayers are paying the bill. We need to know who is that's telling you can't say that, and
Yeah.
why.
Exactly.
You know,
David.
I like to see things.
David.
I like to see things like that happen.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Yeah.
I interviewed Michael Herrera a couple weeks ago on the webinar. Plus, I did a big show on him, 4 episodes on Gaia TV. Check it out. But I want you to watch the interview I did with him because he, you know, was deployed as a Marine during the earthquakes in Indonesia, and he has first account experience of seeing the craft that military was putting uh, cargo containers full of people in to this craft, which is a quarter mile long, I think, 300 feet long. Excuse me. And I want you to, it's very compelling. And he's best friends with David Grush, and he's one of the whistleblowers. And his name is Mike Herrera. Anyway, I really like his story. If you guys haven't seen this webinar that I did, it's still available on my website. David, I'll send it to you and Leanne so you guys can watch it and log in.
Sure.
It's a very compelling, and I want your take on it, actually. And I've done this with Mike Herrera, with many other of my colleagues. And, you know, Mike's a credible person. He's definitely been in the military. He definitely served, and, you know, outstanding guy. And he came forward and he said, "Yeah, I saw it. I was there. This is it. We need more people like that." And yeah, so I just want to make that note, guys. If you haven't seen it, check it out on there. Oh, Vonda saw it. Yeah, he saw it. What do you think, Vonda? And I think Dwight saw it too. A couple people on here saw it. There's a lot of mixed, feelings about different whistleblowers out there. And he was at the National Press Conference. That's correct, Leanne. Yeah. And it's just more people that we need out there that actually have firsthand experiences. Really beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
I would think
it's a game changer. Yeah, Vonda said, Emery, that webinar was amazing. It's one of the most amazing interviews I've actually ever done. I mean, you'll find it really, it's hard to entertain David Adair and Emery Smith, trust me, because we've seen it all. But it's good to get a fresh person out there. He's a lot younger than us, of course, and 20 years younger than us probably. And he's very successful business guy. He has no reason to lie about anything. He has a beautiful family, and he came forward and he says this story is, I like it because he uses all the proper military terms for the weapons, for the Jolly Green Giants, for all this stuff that most people wouldn't. I actually had to have him stop and say, please tell people what an ACOG is, please what an LZ is, please tell people what this stuff means, because he's just breezing through it like he's a military boy talking to a military boy, and it was great. It was hilarious. You get a kick out of it. But I do want you guys to see it because it was a very disturbing. Yes, Jen, it was very disturbing. It is rated R. Do not let your kids watch it because it has to do with human trafficking, using extraterrestrial vehicles for human trafficking and drugs and stuff for shipments. Very compelling, very scary, horrific story. So that's why I'll know you'll like it, David, because you're into the rated RR stuff. So
been there, done that.
And what we're gonna do, I think David and I, one of the best things, one of the fun things that David and I used to do when he stayed here that month was we would put on a movie, and then him and I would just talk the whole time, narrating the movie or telling them, well, that's from this solar system. No, that was from that guy that built the first air car, and it is hilarious. I'm thinking we're gonna have to start watching just regular movies, and then David and I are just gonna sit there. You'll see the back of our heads, and we're just gonna be, making fun of the movie and talking about, what really happened in the movie and how that's reflected. So if you think that would be something funny that you guys like, put that in the comments below. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? Go ahead, David. What?
I'm just going to comment that I do that a lot with the person I'm working with now, Leanne Curtis.
Yeah.
She is brilliant in that area and hilarious too. God, the stuff.
Yeah, Leon's on the
run out of air
on the text here, guys. If you want, that's Leanne there. She's one of David's handlers and does all this cool
Leanne
stuff.
Curtis.
Yeah. So
well, I tell you, it's amazing stuff she knows.
Yeah, it's funny when you get a group of people around that do know history about ET stuff and science, and it's hard for me to watch a movie and not talk because there's just so much I can relate to and understand that I'm not the best person to go to movies with. That's for sure. But I have a good time. Everyone, Vonda says, please tell David Adair how much I love his humor. You're getting a lot of thumbs up here, David. So we appreciate you coming on today. I know you're fresh out of the hospital there. Been a couple weeks now, I think, right? Yeah. So you look great, man. Your color's good.
Yeah, about
your aura's good. Your energy's good. We'll throw you on the scan tonight and see what you look like from afar. If you guys are interested in the scans that David Adair received, you can contact us at cosmicmarket3@gmail.com, and we can give you information about how we do that. That nonlinear scan means you don't have to be here. We just need a photographic picture of your face. Sometimes we use fingernails and hair samples, but the photograph picture of the face is how we measure the photons coming off their body because you're a crystalline structure, like Dave was talking about the crystals earlier. Your body is a hard drive for all that stuff, and you're emitting exactly what's going on with the body. And we have a special device that we developed with 880,000 frequencies. We can read parasites and viruses and all the cells in your body to see what's going on. People are commenting about my watch here. It's not a watch. It's a far infrared wrist bracelet that you wear. Really cool. So if, far infrared rays are very, very important. You can get this also on my website, at emerysmith.co. Darla will put the website in on the text. So if you're interested in one of these, you can get them. They're rechargeable. You wear them all day, and it does wonders for you. Darla will explain what that is. And it comes with 2 vials, by the way, of the nano blue concentrate. If you don't know what that is, please check that out. I know a lot of you on this messaging system are on it. Dave loves the blue stuff. My gosh, he won't put it down.
Yeah.
And it really, tell him, David,
Yeah.
did you think
Somebody
it helped?
asked me what.
What they say?
Oh yeah, it does. And people ask me, "What are you drinking?" I said, "Antifreeze."
So in the laboratory here, they
got an antifreeze.
They nickname it antifreeze. They nickname it Windex because it looks like this, and it's oral. You take it 3 cc's a day. Windex. We also have the nasal spray, also, which this all helps fight infections and disease, and then of course my favorite is the serum. And I think, David, didn't we put this on your bite when you were here?
Yeah, you sure did.
And healed up right away. This is amazing skin, face stuff.
Cleared up right away.
Has all the nano blue in it, which, like I said, Darla will put a website down there for you guys to look at. And if you have any questions about it, let us know. It's part of a nanotechnology I developed for 0.02 nanometer zinc. Zinc's really great for you. It's been around forever. All my ingredients are minerals and natural and safe. The blue comes from methylene blue. Now, methylene blue has just been proven to help with cancer, and it's a super antioxidant. It recharges your mitochondria. It gives you energy. We put all of our patients on nano blue, especially before scans, because it upregulates the voltage of the body and helps us kill off a lot of this scan work that we do. Oh, go ahead, Darla. You can.
When we were on Blind Frog Ranch, I got bit. Remember, I got eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Yeah, you got. Yeah.
Thank God I had the blue gel from my body. I put it all over, and it saved me from going crazy with itching.
Yeah. You also had a brown recluse spider bite as well. What we healed with that.
Wow.
And it's really good for psoriasis too. A lot of skin ailments. It's really amazing for. Thanks for sharing. And a lot of you guys on there that do take it, you can share in the text box there. And if you want, let's see here. What's over here? Yeah, very disturbing. Okay. Yeah, it should be out. Cosmic disclosure should be there. Emery and swearing. Yeah, a lot of swearing. I'm sorry, guys, on that one. What else? I'm just looking here. Try bringing the Space Force with David, Leanne says. I think I missed something. Did everyone see the AI pictures that we did of David Adair? So David Adair is one of our great followers here. He's in charge of the Cosmic Disclosure Fan Club. So he makes AI art. So I think I sent you some of his AI art, and if I didn't, David will somehow post something here so you can look at the amazing art that David Campbell made of David Adair while being on Cosmic Disclosure with me. Is that how I can put it, David?
Oh man,
it's really, really cool, David.
I mean,
I'll definitely send it to you. I thought I sent it to you on your phone. He made a dozen or so pictures of you through the AI, and there she goes. Oh, Lovarium. That's right, Darla. That's the nano blue Lovarium. It's got, myrrh, sandalwood, rose, and what a beautiful model. Oh, look at that. I feel like you're Vanna White. And it's really supernatural, and it's also a biohacker. It actually keeps 5G off you. All this stuff helps
but
you.
Look how pretty
resonate.
the bottle is. I just like to stare at the
look
bottle.
How pretty the pyramid.
I just want to.
She's hypnotizing everyone.
Stare at the bottle all day.
Yeah. It is a very cool bottle, and that bottle is
Look at
specific
the
for
red
keeping.
light.
It's specific for keeping those energies in there. Thanks for pointing that out. Put a website down there so they know. But yeah, David Campbell, please send David Adair these are beautiful, amazing pictures you made.
Yeah,
Let's
I would
see.
love to see
Yeah,
them.
very cool stuff. He started doing that a while back, and people that I've interviewed on Cosmic, he started doing that, and it's been quite the hit. I'll tell you one thing. Oh, Vonda, so yeah, did you get it? She said she got the Lovarium perfume for Christmas. Well, that's great. Is it awesome? Yep. She answered me before I said it. She says, yeah, it's very awesome. Ashley, please do it. Get the scan. Emery and Darla are helping my children now. We are so grateful. We love you guys. Thank you, Ashley. We love you too. We're going to make sure everyone gets taken care of, and it works. And we get the worst of the worst. When the doctors and modern medicine fails, they send them to Darla and I, and we have a really good team. And we head it all up, and it's an amazing thing we do. David had the pleasure of jumping in the pyramid here and being on the infrared mats and the med beds and all the crazy stuff we had going on here. Can't wait for David to come back. We got a
I'll
lot
tell
more.
you,
Yeah.
I just the funnest thing happened was when Darla was sitting in front of the computer. I had the headphones on, laying on the couch, and I'm looking at her, and it was her face. Like, that's when she saw there are two images here. And I looked up and I went, oh, that might be Pittslam you're staring at. And she goes, what? Then she called you over.
Yeah. And then I had to go explain all that.
But yeah, that
it was nice for her to not know everything going on. And as you know, she's a medical practitioner.
Yeah, because it caught her by surprise.
And she's like, Emery, what
she was working away, and then all of a sudden she just stopped. What the hell's that?
I was like, oh, that's all right. That's just Pittslam. She's like, what? She thought we were lost our mind, David.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's never seen me.
But she was working.
Yeah,
she's working steadily away at it, and all of a sudden she just froze, and I went.
She was doing
God, what is she
two treatments for the price of one.
That's right, David. Pittslam owes us. She owes us for that other scan.
I was going to say, she snuck in under the wire.
And Michelle and Ashley that are on here, we've been working on Ashley's children so far, and her husband, and then Michelle and her husband are also we're working on them as well. So thank you guys for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. That's awesome. It's funny because they're all related. They're all Hamiltons.
No, they're not related.
It's an inside joke.
It's funny though. It's just like we all happen to have.
They all have the last name. It's interesting. So, well, it's getting towards that time, Dave. I want to thank you again and thank everyone for your support, helping David and I. The proceeds do go to David and I and the team here to let us keep doing this. And I want to say not only thank you to David and everybody else, but I want to get you really amped up about Sunday, the 17th of January. And I'll send you the particulars, Leanne, when we get it. We have Paul Moeller, David Adair, and myself, and Paul's going to give us this amazing walkthrough. Well, David, what can you tell people about we're fans of this guy. Yeah, believe it or not, Dave and I have fans.
Yeah,
we're fans of this guy. We're bringing him here to you. And who is Paul Moeller? Let's get that out.
We're talking.
First.
we're
like kids at a candy shop.
Wayback Machine here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it goes way back to 1970. 69.
Yes.
I think I first saw an article in Popular Mechanics.
Yeah.
And it was an article about. Yeah, and I was a sophomore in high school, and I was building Pittslam at the time, and I thought, wow, this guy's interesting. He built this flying car, and it's really it's real. It's not a fake thing.
The first one.
The demo was amazing. Remember?
Yeah.
He drove it into a drive-through McDonald's.
You can watch it online.
Then went over to the parking lot of the mall. And took off. Just boom. Can
you imagine that in 1969? Oh my gosh. That's So,
Oh yeah, and then the DOT called him up,
yeah,
and they were not
Hey,
happy
that
with
was the
him
year I
because
was
they said
born.
you've created a huge
That
problem.
was a good year.
Yeah, does FAA register you or does DOV register you? Which is it? Because it's an airplane that can go through a drive-through, and it's got turn signals on it, but it's an airplane. It's just he was trying to get to George Jetson's little briefcase,
right.
and
Yeah,
he was the first. He was the first person in the world that I was aware of that brought a flying car into. Now there are dozens and
yeah,
dozens of competitors,
yeah,
and some of them have showed up with bigger checkbooks.
yeah.
And yet, but I remember Paul
I
Mullen
posted David
was the first.
Moeller.com where he's showing his new Skycar 400, and he said that he was going to walk
Wow.
us through his hangar and personally
Oh
introduce you and
man.
me to all his Skykars from the last 40 years here, 50 years. And
Can you imagine his
it's going to be
toys?
so much
God
fun. You
almighty.
guys you can't miss it. It's going to be amazing. Just an amazing event, because we've been waiting to do this forever and meet him, and through an acquaintance
At
of
least 3 decades, four
yeah,
decades.
because this was a lot. This inspired Dave and I for many years. So I'm really excited.
It did me.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time, and this time, David and I get to ask the questions to Paul.
Yeah.
So
And I'm just amazed that he even knew of me and was
yeah,
wanting to meet me. And I thought,
and
damn,
I actually one of
yeah,
my
I'm the little
friends,
kid
one of my
walking.
Dave. What happened was one of my friends, was it Veronica? I think it was Veronica. Yeah, and you know her, and she called me. She says, "Man, this guy,
Yeah.
do you mind talking to this guy, because he's a big fan of yours. He watches all your shows on Cosmic. He knows me. He knows David Adair.
Victoria.
I
Victoria.
mean Victoria Ray. Is Victoria on here? She should be.
I haven't
And
seen
Yeah, Victoria.
yeah, Victoria. You remember Victoria?
I haven't seen her on
And
here.
so I said, yeah. So I said, yeah, I'd love to meet him. Of course. He goes, well, he really wants one of your posters. Could you send him one? So here, that poster back there, I made him a print of the light being of the picture, artist rendition of the picture I took of the light being. I sent it to him signed, and so that's how we got talking into this. And I was thinking, what better two people to get together as David Adair and Paul Muller and myself, and get into the aeronautics and stuff that we love so much, and to see how it progressed from '69 till today with the Skycar 400. Check the link below. It's at molar.com, David. I don't know if you've been there recently, but check it out tonight, molar.com.
No, I haven't yet.
And
Okay, I
we'll
will.
definitely be, you and I are going to be talking up some good questions. I know that for sure. And I'm going to get you on a conference call with the three of us here this week after New Year's, just to break the ice. And that's going to be a conversation I should record, because when David and I get on phone calls with these types of
You really should.
amazing people, we do not get off the phone. David and I will rant and rave for 6 to 7 hours. So I might record that and play it back for the people. But the main thing is we get to see his cars inside and out, and who better to show us the Lamborghinis of flying cars than the person who invented them themselves? So there's something to look.
Who started the industry?
Yeah, he started the whole industry. So I hope you guys join us for that.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone here. I mean, I think, oh, hey, Rosaria, Catherine, Vanda Rosaria, Deb, let's see who's all here. Darla and Darcy and Serve and Michael, Michelle and Catherine. Oh my gosh, David. I mean, we got a lot of people here. Ashley, you haven't said that. So just thank all of you, and for all your support. And thanks, David, again for staying on the planet. Do not leave me here with these hairless apes. You promised. We made a pact, David. We made a pact that once we leave, we got to go together
Yeah,
up there
they're
in that, that craft we got building in the backyard there. I mean, I can't believe it got out of control the other night and crashed in
yeah.
those people's backyard in Las
David's not going
Vegas.
anywhere. He's stuck here with us.
Yeah, David's stuck here.
Yeah, they got to.
Darla talked to Pithlem over the frequency device.
I'm
I don't know
afraid.
what the hell they talked about, but it's done. You got to
No,
complete the mission
we
here.
made a deal that you're stuck here. So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, marooned is not a good word.
It's a bitch. Marooned.
It is. It really is.
Well, David, what I'm going to do, if you want to do, we got that big show with Paul Moeller, but I think I'm going to have you back on the show because there's one story we never got to speak about publicly, and I want to ask your permission if you want to speak about the on the next show. We'll do it if you would like to speak about because you've held this. I'm probably only one of maybe two people in the world that know this story of the first flight of the first F-14 Tomcat from from Starbucks out there all the way to well, it's supposed to go to California,
and that's not
but
the coffee cup,
yeah, it's not the coffee cup story. No, it's definitely not the coffee
No,
cup.
you look it up on the world globe. You'll see an
look up
island called
Starbucks
Starbucks.
Island there. Yeah. But anyway,
that's where
I think this story is so compelling because it covers not just
detail.
amazing. It's such detail, and I remember when you first told me this story way back when, and then retold me the story this past year. You retold the story. I was on the phone with David, asked Darla, for over 6 hours. And I recorded maybe
I stayed up till
an
4 o'clock in the morning with David the first night he came over to our house. He told me his whole career in the military, from beginning to end. It was
Darla
amazing.
had a 24-hour nonstop. Yep. Go ahead. Yeah.
He needs to share some of those stories with us.
Oh my! That's what I'm telling. I mean, there's a lot of stories that David doesn't talk about, on Gaia and other platforms we have. But this, I think he might open. I think he might open up on this one. We'll talk, David, off the camera about it. But it's such a beautiful story.
I can. It's amazing.
It's just an amazing story. It needs to be a movie, and with one of the amazing stories you have, I think the public needs to know about this one. Yeah, it would be.
I've always wanted to go back there.
Yeah, take us with you. Make sure the volcano's Make sure the volcano's not active though when we go.
Depends on which way you turn the wheel.
and whatever craft we're using, we're going to outfit it with backup anti-gravitics, so we're not coasting in there like that New York airliner in the Hudson Bay.
Exactly. Whatever you're going to use, don't make sure it's not electronic.
He landed, right?
At least he landed.
That is amazing. Yeah, it was actually.
We're teasing everybody right now, guys. We're teasing everybody with this amazing story. So join us the next time you see.
You're right about what
was that?
What a scene in the movie that would make. Trying to land that damn F-14 with no power.
Cinematography on that, and Top Gun ain't got nothing on you.
The F-14 without power, the F-14 without power, and you're trying to fly it. It's like trying to guide an elephant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
heavy.
It's just not
big,
that great and aerodynamic. It's heavy. It's an armor-plated plane.
The teaser
worse than the Warthog.
It is. You're right. Like the Warthog, like the A-10. That was my base, England Air Force Base. We were all A-10s.
Yeah.
They closed it now. But anyway, the teaser is
machine gun with a.
Okay. Yeah. So of course, David and I can talk all day about this, but the teaser is he's testing out the F-14 Tomcat for the first time ever, and he happened to go through some sort of interdimensional portal and wound up somewhere else. So that's all we're going to say. If you like that kind of thing and want to hear the most amazing story ever, that story might have to go 3 or 4, 5, 6 hours. We'll see what we can do. We can't cut it out because of the detail. The detail on that is it's better than a book. I mean, books are detailed. Him talking out loud,
and
recalling every sand particle, on that beach, and the flora, fauna, and the beings that he encountered, beautiful beings. is bar none beats Avatar.
I'll be
beats,
back in 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead. But we're gonna close up, David.
David's
So
blurred out.
Okay.
yeah. So
Well, y'all, if you close out before I get back, there's something knocking on the front
okay, we'll
door
wait
here.
for
I
you.
gotta see what it
I
is.
hope it's not the well, gosh, maybe it's the
Okay.
NSA again. Oh shit. Did we say anything bad, Darla? I don't think we
It
did.
might be the dogs. I think they ran to his house to check on him.
Oh, probably. Yeah. So, well, everyone, I hope you guys enjoy this. I had a blast. It's always fun with David, and it's very effortless for David and I to talk about everything, and definitely join us next time. This story, guys, I'm telling you, as a friend and as a pilot and specialist, that you're never going to hear a story like this ever. I don't care. I've heard it all, seen it all, and I've been through some crazy stuff, if you guys know. But this story that he's going to tell, he's been hiding this story for
there's
his
more
whole
than
life.
one. There's more than one. There's
Yeah, I mean, right. But this particular story, there's so many, because he doesn't want to come across as, like crazy. But I think it's beyond that now for him and I. If people don't trust us and believe us now, then there's no hope for you.
Okay.
We tell it
That's
exactly
right.
how it
Hang
is.
on.
Yep, he's coming back. So we'll definitely see you guys. And thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everyone here, for all your beautiful comments.
Sorry
Without
about
you
that, y'all.
guys, we wouldn't be here. So it's important that you guys stick around and support us as we move forward and bring you more of David Adair's amazing accomplishments and stories, because it's an endless book. But these chronicles, the Adair
David,
Chronicles, I'm going to make.
blur yourself. He's blurred.
David, you're blurred.
Oh, that's good. I'll have
Blurry,
to remember that.
David, you're blurred.
I know, man.
Your camera's focusing on the.
My camera has.
It's focusing on that beer cup, I think.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh.
That'll be the day when I
All
see
right,
him
well,
drink.
yeah, David doesn't drink or smoke or do anything. He's perfect. And
No, they told me you're a Navy SEAL. Yeah, Navy SEAL that doesn't drink, don't smoke, and has no tattoos. My admiral called me a freak of nature.
He just has an alien inside him. That's all.
Yeah, he just has an alien inside him. Well, Darla just blurted it out. He's trying to keep that classified.
It's Pifflin that won't let you drink.
Just say Pifflin, because people just think Pifflin's a pimple or something. They don't know. No, Pifflin is this amazing being, and
yeah, it's old. Oh my god.
There you go.
I've dated older women before, but I mean,
yeah.
There we go. It's clearing up.
Well, David, if there's anything you want, if there's anything you want to say about Pifflin, go ahead. We have some time since you took a little.
Well, she's been around it, been in my life.
No pun intended. Inside his life, inside his body.
No, really, for 54 years, and that seems like a long time. It is to us as humans, but man, her race, they're not measured in thousands or millions, billions with a B. They're like 13 billion years old.
Yeah.
They were the first creatures to show up as the universe was being made. And so that led to a lot of questions I had. And
this is beyond an old soul.
I said, damn.
This is from the creators.
Yeah, I've dated older women before. But not for 13 billion years.
You took the cake on this one, David.
And then, and but she's got a great sense of humor.
Well, I personally met her. I like her. I think she's great.
Well, she's got a great personality. For instance, I said, how long have you been on this planet? She goes, about 50 million years. I went, well, damn, isn't your family kind of slow getting here? And boy, she put me in my place. She goes, David, not everything in the universe runs on a Julius Caesar calendar. Oh boy. Or
David,
and I
keep
thought,
talking. I
oh
gotta go use the
man. And then
restroom.
I said, yeah. And I said to her, well, that brings us to another question. I said, we humans, we're linear and chronological in nature. And I guess talking to her, we're about the only creatures in the universe that are like that. So most creatures don't believe that human beings are chronological and linear, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years of age. They said nothing lives like that. That's all we know. That's all we've ever been. So there's quite a bit to learn and exchange things. Um, the rest of the creatures, apparently, in her world, they're what they call unstuck in time. They live in the past, present, and future all at once. I can't even imagine what that would be like. God. Um, so there's just such a contrast between everyday stuff and in their world. Um, they're born in between the galaxies, like whales are born deep in the bowels of the ocean. So they live their whole lives there, and I don't even know how long their lifespans are. Like I said, she's like 13 billion years old, and their knowledge is just it's unbelievable. It's to us, these beings would be like omni knowledge, like God. They know everything. Um, and yet there's something even above them, and they'll in their talks with you, you'll find out they allude to such a thing. So I don't know. Um, they are beyond things that we worry about, with with physical things, possessions. None of that exists in their life. They're more spiritual beings than they are physical beings, and sometimes I feel so so petty or so minor compared to somebody like that. Um, but I'm lucky. I feel lucky I get to talk to him. And I told him, I said, "You're going to have to explain things to me. I'm not the brightest bulb in the box anymore." And I said, "If I ever was." And so I said, "I'm like an ant trying to understand an F-14 fighter." It's a little bit of a difficult gap there. But
Well, I mean, you do a
boy,
credit,
the
like,
stuff they
you do a credit, David. I mean, well, I'm asking you. I think I know the answer. I mean,
sure.
I've definitely had help from above. I'm not that,
Oh yeah,
all my inventions I had a little help with. Did you see her or Pithlum? He, she. I think it's definitely a her. But have you
yeah.
seen her help you? Like, did she give you some guidance at all?
Oh yeah. Um, and it's in areas or arenas that you wouldn't expect. That's
Right.
what's cool.
Yes, exactly.
I was
Explain
working.
that.
I was working. I was working for this Wall Street firm one time,
Hmm.
making a shitload of money,
Hmm.
and they had this engineer whose past record at the firm was just perfect. First one to show up at work, last one to leave. Just so dedicated, really good. And then all of a sudden, he just like everything he was working on just crashed, and he was worthless. So the CEO called me in and told me, "I know that's not part of your job, but you're so personal with people. We're going to hand it over to you." And he said, "We'll pay you a bonus for this." I said, "What do you want me to do?" He said, "I want you to be a hatchet." You want me to be a hatchet man on who? And this engineer. And I said, "Oh man," I said, "he was one of your top engineers workers." And he said, "Yeah, but he's becoming a liability."
Oh my gosh.
I said, "Well, let me talk to him." So he comes in, and I'm supposed to fire him. And this guy's work record prior to where he just screwed up for the last few months was
Mm.
been perfect. And so
Oh, yeah, yeah.
all of a sudden, Pislam shows up in my conscience, and she said, "Okay, he's in front of us. Ask him this." And I said, "You're kidding? You want me to ask him this?" He said, "Yeah." So I looked him right in his face and I asked him. I said, "What's going on with your wife? What's happened at home?" And he's shocked by that. Here I am, a hatchet man on Wall Street, and he's just telling me. And what's happened? His wife in the last 2 months has contracted cancer and she's dying. And his world is just shattered. And he hadn't said anything to anybody. It started showing up in his work. I would have never thought to ask that. Ever.
Right.
It's just like that's the female side. And so then I started applying myself into it. And I said, "Okay, fine. Where's your wife right now?" She was at home. I said, "Good. You're going to go see a specialist. Can't afford it. We'll take care of it. Let's get her fixed." So went through a lot of special. Bottom line is she got cured. She's about to die and got her cured and got her cancer free. And that guy work shot through the ceiling. And everybody at Wall Street thought I was a genius and great and all that. I said, "Buddy, I didn't have nothing to do with it. I'm just all I am is a relay. I'm just relaying what I've been." They said, "Well, there's nobody else around but you. You got him fixed." I said, "I didn't fix him. He never was wrong. He was just being a human being dealing with a bad situation. And he didn't ask for help. But now, after I figured out what it was, they said, 'How did you figure it out? What made you say that?' And I said, 'You don't want to know.'" So I got a reputation. I got a lot of more cases because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something I learned about her. There's even the alien species, there's still genders in alien species. And the female side of whatever species you're dealing with, it just, honest to God, y'all, it just seems to be smarter. It just does. I admire the female entity
You said it.
of any
You said
race.
it.
Yeah, well,
oh gosh, I never heard into that.
My handler that I have now, Leanne Curtis, God almighty, I've learned so much off of her. I can't even count it. I wish I could give back as much as I've gotten from her. I'll never live long enough to do it. But man, I'm so.
Oh yeah, you will, David.
Bottom line is, bottom line message nowhere. For all of you, all you males out there, listen up, listen real careful, because let me tell you, the females have got that stuff going on, and they are smart. They are really friggin' smart. And if you're smart, you'll listen.
Well, I don't know what happened to this one here, and, but I'll have to work on her. I'm just kidding.
Fortunately, I've been lucky enough.
Yeah, I mean, they're not only really smart, they're also extremely psychic, you know. And
yeah, they're what they call women's intuition. It's really a psychic flow, I guess.
It is. But, yeah, they're very connected.
Man, males just, and all species, the male just pales in comparison.
Because women are more
that.
Sensitive.
And if you're lucky enough,
we feel energy.
Yeah, and if you're lucky enough,
you guys do in a different way, because we're not using logic.
What do you think entirely?
It's not logic. It's just how you feel.
Yeah, it's hard. That's it. It's not what you think; it's what you feel.
I don't feel
and
shit.
They interpret those feelings.
That's the problem. That's why you
beat me to it. Yeah, but they can. Females are in all species. It's just sharper and faster. I don't know why.
Even our dogs, R2 is smarter than B2.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you can see it when you start looking
R2. R2s are more manipulative.
No, she's smart, or she's opened the door how many times now, and he can't even figure it out yet.
Yeah, it is. It is weird when your dog opens the doors. They can open the refrigerator, open the doors. It's
Yeah.
getting bad. We have to lock the doors. They literally go up there, grab the handle, and open it, and walk in.
They've
Nope,
been
there's
trying to
no
get in there
effing
the whole
privacy
time.
anymore. No privacy, David. I gotta rechange that circuit. You sent me the wrong circuit, David. I did put it where it was supposed to, in the left ear, right? The dog's batshit crazy now.
No, it's supposed to be in the right ear.
Ah, see,
Yeah.
you should have had Darla do it.
See, well, the first thing they should have learned was knocking. They knock first, then open the door.
Oh, they do. They do this.
Yeah, it's just a
But she
flurry.
uses her paw and goes, "Oh, I'll just open the door."
But
Well,
when I answered your question, Pitham helps out in areas you wouldn't expect. Like, I wouldn't expect she'd jump in the Wall Street thing, and yet she was right. That's why I've learned to admire about the female gender, is that when you think you can't get over something or accomplish something, go ask a female. I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'm serious, because they'll set your ass on a straight course real quick.
Oh yeah.
And it's just amazing. I've become very appreciative of that. I hope you're hearing this, Leanne. I can't see you, but I know
she's here.
I know you're hearing me.
She says, "Don't leave your phones unattended."
Yeah.
Leanne said. And then she said,
well,
just wait until they start texting at all hours of the morning. Oh my gosh, you guys are now we're changing. We went from aerospace to getting drafted to heart attacks to now we're doing some psychology work for everybody, for all the men.
Well, I tell you, that's stuff people can relate to. It makes it relatable, and then it's interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, I would not be here today if it wasn't for women, because I'll tell you one thing, Darla has saved my life more than once. That's for sure. And God bless her. So
yeah, he's stuck.
Yeah.
These guys are going anywhere. They're both stuck here. Sorry.
I'm gonna pull that implant out. We're gonna pull that plug out. No, I'm not talking about that plug. You guys are sick minds. Sick minds.
I know.
All right, we'll end on a good laugh. David, David, I love you. We all love you.
Always said I'm a wart board.
A wart board?
I really love you guys. I really.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm definitely a wart board.
We love you, David. Thank you.
I thought he said wart board. I said warts. Oh my gosh. See, I couldn't hear right.
At WARP.
Okay, warp, like warp.
We've been doing
well, you're like me. I approach English.
I think we're getting slap happy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, again. Go ahead, Darla. I couldn't hear you.
I was just saying we're going on 2 3/4 hour already here.
Yeah,
could go all day.
Okay.
We usually go over a little bit. All right, Dave. Well, I'll give you a call later on, and hopefully we'll get to talk to Paul this week.
Right.
And that'll be fun. And thank you again, everyone. We appreciate all your support. Thank you, Darla, again for moderating this and taking care of everybody. Those of you that didn't get to see it all, you can definitely rewatch it on the replay. And stay tuned. We got more stuff coming up. Very informative.
People that slept in today.
Yeah, there's a lot of people slept in today. I guess got some more emails in, Darla. You might want to check and send out the secret codes and stuff. But looking forward to the next one we have.
Wait until the replay.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to wait till the replay
on the 7th.
Yeah, because there'll be a different link.
When they get their code, they'll see "Drink Your Ovaltine." That's from.
I used to live off Ovaltine growing up. I love Ovaltine.
I love that stuff.
What was in there? They must have had some sort of, it
was chocolate.
Excitatomes in it or something.
Hello, it's chocolate.
Oh, it's chocolate. That's right. Oh, by the way,
that's right.
The only difference between my go bag and Darla's go bag is I carry meals ready to eat, and she carries chocolate.
That's
There you
a
go.
basic
Hey,
necessity of
that's
life.
smart.
That's a staple of
You
my
know,
diet every day.
it's funny because there was
It's
a
a
down
highly
Russian. Hey, do you remember this story, David? You know, I read it in the Reader's Digest in like
I already
1980,
do. Yes,
and you know what I'm talking
I
about?
do remember.
You see, he's
I
so
do.
quick with
Yeah,
his tele is so awesome. Dave and I will just have
yeah, I
conversations while they're
remember.
talking. And this down pilot, I don't remember if it was Russia or whatever, it was somewhere over there.
It's a great story.
And all he took with him when he escaped was as many chocolate bars as he could. And he made it like 60, 80 miles on foot. And all he had was, and it's the best substance to take for survival because sugar from chocolate is
Yeah,
immediate. It's immediate rush. Right, Darla? Darla knows this. She should write a show on it.
and
Darla eats 2 pounds of
especially
chocolate a night
especially in
before she
his
goes to bed.
condition.
And his condition
He was
beat up
scared
like
half to
that.
death all the time.
I can't believe you know that story. That's awesome. Well,
I
that's
do.
the whole chocolate story.
When I read it, you know what I said to myself? I said, I would have taken the pantyhose. Those come in. They come
Yeah, they
in very
do.
handy for trading
Yes, they
I'm
do.
not gonna
over there
ask.
in the
Yeah,
European bloc. Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
And somebody said, as a matter of fact, in the survival bags, the bug out bags of the U-2 pilots,
Yeah,
they had chocolate and pantyhose
yeah, that's
in those
right.
bags. Yeah, it's a fact. That's a fact.
Yep. Oh
Chewing
man.
gum. That was another big item.
Yeah, chewing gum. Yeah, that's great. All
It's
right.
like the Japanese beat this Marine half to death.
Yeah,
All right.
that's it. Yeah.
Well,
All right,
Okay.
guys,
guys, because we're just
appreciate
gonna keep.
I'm just gonna
We
pull
just
them off.
love talking about pantyhose. The next webinar will be about pantyhose and chocolate. Pantyhose and chocolate. We'll explain what we mean
yeah,
by that, and
important shit.
we will pull out of the pantyhose all the go bag stuff, and explain why you need the pantyhose at the end. All right.
Okay,
God
I'll
bless
be
you
glad
guys.
to.
Thank you so much. I'm
Bye,
going to end
guys.
it now. We love you guys. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. All right, Darla, you can hit it. Bye,
Bye
guys.
bye.
It
Bye bye.
won't, I'm trying to shut it off.
Yeah, you can cancel. You can shut it off.
How come it's not stopping?
You can just X out then. It'll shut.
Just stop. Wait, it says changes you made may not be saved. No, it stopped.